Episode 2, Turnabout Airlines. The murder that occurred in my office. The return of the great thief Yatagarasu. Thinking back, everything began on that fateful day 2 days ago. Two days earlier. What the heck is happening? Yes, everything began high up in the air, 9,000 feet in the air to be precise. Thank you for flying GoU Airlines. We are currently experiencing some slight turbulence. We are asking all passengers to please return to their seats and fasten their seatbelts. I'm so confused. March 12th, 6:13 a.m. Flight G390, first floor lounge. Why do I feel like I just woke up from a horrible nightmare? 6:13, huh? I guess I was out cold for about 10 minutes. Slight turbulence indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, we are currently experiencing some slight turbulence. For your safety, we ask that you return to your seats and fasten your seatbelts. I suppose turbulence is to be expected on a flight. Though, admittedly, I'm less than comfortable with anything resembling earthquakes. What's this? A travel wallet? But it's not mine. How did someone else's travel wallet wind up in my pocket? My head. Why won't this headache go away? I'll take care of this travel wallet later, or hand it off to an attendant. From earthquake-like turbulence to an elevator. Oh yeah, that would be really traumatic for Edgeworth. What am I doing hesitating like this? Actually, I know full well why I hesitate. It was when I was still but a young child. I was caught up in a murder that happened in an elevator. But how long am I going to let my past haunt me? It's just an elevator. I'm a grown man now. I need to behave like one. What the? And that's the second elevator earthquake murder. Wow, bad luck for Edgeworth. What in the world happened? Is there something wrong, sir? I must ask that you please return to your seat. He's dead! Please, calm down. We mustn't jump to conclusions without all the facts. What's wrong? Did something happen? You murderer! No! You have it all wrong. It wasn't me. Yeah, that does look really, really bad. March 12th, 6:41 a.m. Flight G390, second floor, first class. Look at Edgeworth in the corner there. Oh my god. Everyone, I am sorry to interrupt, but I have an important announcement. I am one of your flight attendants today, Rhoda Teniro. Unfortunately, we have just had a minor accident on this flight. A minor accident, huh? An accident? Don't treat us like we're stupid. I caught a glimpse and it was a murder. What? Murder? What's going on with this flight? Everyone, please calm down. There's no reason to panic. This flight will stay on course and make its scheduled landing. We are still currently in the middle of a rough patch of turbulence. So until we are out of this area of turbulence, I ask that you please remain seated. But someone was killed, right? I mean, what about the killer? Let me off! Please, there is no need to feel threatened. We have already apprehended the culprit. I ask that everyone please remain calm. What the heck is he talking about? Why should we remain calm? My name is Miles Edgeworth. I'm a prosecutor, and I can assure you I am not the killer. Ha! Being a prosecutor doesn't make you incapable of murder, buddy. That's the first time anyone has ever acknowledged that fact. Now you listen here. I am not the killer. I simply found the body. So you say, however, I'm sure that you are the perpetrator of this crime. I swear on my honor as a professional flight attendant. Oh, is that right? I know what I saw. And there's even very strong, incriminating evidence to back me up. What kind of incriminating evidence is she talking about? Also, why does she know everything about incriminating evidence? We've already alerted the proper authorities at our destination. Until we land, you will remain in our custody by the powers vested in our captain. I'm very sorry, but please understand our situation. Your situation? I'm more concerned with mine and the direction it's going in. I'm not about to just sit idly by while I get accused of murder. Miss Tenero, is it? Yes? I was wondering if you might give me a chance. A chance? To do what? A chance to plead my case. And a chance to ask you what you meant by incriminating evidence just now. To accuse a passenger of such a grave crime without allowing him to give a proper defense. Can the professional flight attendant inside of you really call this action righteous? Oh, that is a load of garbage, Edgeworth. You know it. You have a point. Very well, I'll listen to what you have to say. But be wary of what you reveal. I'm afraid you'll only look even more suspicious if your explanation fails to satisfy. I also do not have the time to deal with you all day, so please make it quick. Of course, as you wish. Good. Very well then, let's get started. I know for a fact that I didn't kill the man in the elevator. What I don't know is what sort of evidence she has up her sleeve. But I'm certain it doesn't fit with how the crime really occurred. I swear to tell the whole truth as a professional flight attendant. Unfortunately for you, Mr. Edgeworth, I am certain you are the killer. The scene I saw in front of the elevator. It was you standing there with fresh blood dripping off the murder weapon. So if you would please cooperate, we'll turn you over just as soon as we land. That was a travel wallet. That's it? That's our evidence? I don't think you could ask for a more perfect witness testimony. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Edgeworth? Not really. It's hardly perfect when there's a gaping hole in it. I mean, that's a little mean. Do I have any evidence right now? Whoa, I have a lot. Oh, this is gonna be important. Drink at 10. Meals from 1 to 3. Drinks 5 to 6. Movies 6 to 8. Meals 7 to 9. Drinks again at 10. Meal 4 to 6. That feels like it's gonna be really important. But I know exactly where to present. Off the murder weapon. No, that was a travel wallet. It was just a wallet. Miss Tenero. What is with the yelling all of a sudden? Force of habit. Well, it doesn't matter. Miss Tenero, you say you saw the murder weapon dripping with blood. Is that correct? Yes. All that blood. Drip, drip, drip. Just recalling the scene sends a chill down my spine. Sorry, but your so-called professional flight attendant training has failed you. Why is he being so mean with this woman? What? I'd like to direct your attention to this. Do you know what this is? It's a travel wallet, right? But it looks a little big and bulky. The thing you saw me holding when I discovered the dead body in the elevator was this very travel wallet, Miss Tenero. What? Impossible! Now then, do you still think I am the killer? That I killed him with a travel wallet? But I saw blood dripping from the wallet. I know I did. As you can see, this wallet is clearly stained. But if you would be so kind as to take a whiff, I think you'd agree it's only grape juice. Then... That's right. You mistook grape juice for blood. The murder weapon dripping with blood does not, in fact, exist. No! Why is he being so mean? There. That should clear up that pesky accusation. Wait just a sec. That is... I mean, even a wallet could be deadly if it was wrapped around something heavy. I demand that you show me what's inside. Please. She's trembling, and the tacked-on please at the end. Sounds like I've got her. There's no need to look inside. Even you can tell from its appearance that it's light. No, I can't be sure of anything until I see the contents of that wallet for myself. She's a persistent one. I suppose we have no choice but to see what's inside. Miss Tenero, if you would be so kind as to open the wallet and check its contents for me. All right. I usually don't pry into passengers' belongings, but we have no choice here. Grape juice stains the outer cover. True, it was I who dropped it in the juice, however I didn't do it out of ill intentions. It seems that this passport is all that's in here. As you saw, there is nothing but a passport inside. This renders your wallet was the murder weapon argument moot. Yeah, but it's probably the victim's passport, you idiot. So now you're really gonna seem guilty because you had the wallet. Wouldn't you agree? Please, hear me out, Mr. Edgeworth. What is it now? Well, I was wondering, whose passport is it exactly? Can I take a look? Why not? I'm rather curious myself. This is... Ackby Hicks. That's his name? Rob Hicks. Ackby. What? Okay. Just as I thought. This travel wallet belonged to Mr. Ackby Hicks, which makes it the victim's property. You stole the victim's wallet, didn't you? How dare you? You said it yourself. You claimed to be holding this wallet in your hands when I found you. Perhaps I did misconstrue the wallet for the murder weapon, but it seems that I wasn't wrong about who the culprit is. Yeah, I knew it immediately. As you claim, the murder weapon is not the travel wallet. However, it is something you stole from Mr. Hicks after you were done with the vile deed. I find it hard to believe myself, but your motive was very simple. You were out to steal Mr. Hicks' money, weren't you? What? So even though I didn't have the murder weapon on me, you still suspect me, I see. You stood up the crime scene with the victim's wallet in your hands. How can I turn a blind eye and not suspect you of foul play? Fair enough, honestly. As you claim, the murder weapon is not the travel wallet.
Hold it!
Shouldn't that be proof enough for you that I did not murder the victim? Not at all. Oh, and why not? Because that wallet may not have been what I thought it was. However, it is something you stole from Mr. Hicks after were done with the vile deed. You think I stole it? Yes, I'm very sorry to say it, and I usually wouldn't be so rude, but it must be said. I never thought I'd see the day, but here I am calling a passenger a thief. Maybe I should put on a serious face and say it more directly. I believe you removed the wallet from the victim's personage. It really doesn't matter how you phrase it. What I'd like to know is why you think I stole Mr. Hicks' wallet. Let me look at the court record again. Got it. Okay. I find it hard to believe myself, but your motive was very simple. You're out to steal Mr. Hicks' money, weren't you? However, his money's all right here, so if I wanted the money, I would have taken the money. And the murder weapon's also right there, probably.
Objection!
But here's my objection. I wonder if I might get a word in, Miss Tenero. What is it now? Miss Tenero, I wonder if you noticed the contradiction within your own testimony. What are you talking about? It's simply impossible that the motive for this murder was monetary theft. One glance at the crime scene should have told you that. What about this scene would prove that the motive for the murder was not the money? All of everything on the ground.
Take that!
If I may direct your attention to the things strewn all over the floor. Ah, that's right. The floor is covered in bills and coinage. Coinage. That's a weird word. By your rationale, these were the very things the killer was after. I think we can assume that the wallet fell during the victim's struggle with his killer, and I would think that the killer would have noticed something like money scattering everywhere. Furthermore, as you can see, there was no effort made by the killer to gather the money. But the wallet...
Objection!
Ah, yes, the wallet. You will also recall that the only thing in it was Mr. Hicks' passport. Ha! If you were really insisting that it was crime based on greed, then you're claiming that it was all for an empty travel wallet. Forgive me! Please! Hey, what the heck? Are you saying the attendant's wrong? So that guy is the killer? Don't believe it, everyone. It's a trick. Will you all please be quiet? Miss Tenero. Yes? You lost your cool when you saw the dead body. Plus, the lounge was dark, and looking into the light from the elevator, it's easy to see how you mistook the wallet in my hands for the murder weapon. I take no offense that you thought I was the killer. Mr. Edgeworth, thank you for releasing me. I don't even know where to begin with this. What is it now? What is he saying? Miss Tenero, if you could please translate, I'd be much obliged. It sounds like Borginian, but I don't understand any of it. There's another attendant on this flight who... Borginian? Isn't that this guy's passport? Yeah, Republic of Borginia. I said that he is giving the runabout. I don't require an interpreter. I speak English just well, see? You, the attendant. Yes, sir. I want this person to be under the arrest until we arrive at the airport. I'm sorry, sir, but what exactly are you hoping for? What is it you want? I'm finished talking to the likes of you. Please, I would like to hear why you would like me to be held under arrest until we land. You! How dare you try and waste my time! You were the one who stuck your nose into my affairs. I wanted to spend even at least one more second with my precious art. I have no time for other things. I know what you are. I see through you. Insolvent. Yes, I am pretty sure that is how you say it in English. Well, I should hope I'm not monetarily bankrupt, but I don't think that's what you meant. I'm sorry, but I don't think I caught your name. I am Zinc LeBlanc II. I am a very wealthy man in Borginia. But I am not an ordinary rich man. I am an art dealer, a rich seller of beauty. Mr. LeBlanc, what did you mean just now? Pardon? When you said that Mr. Edgeworth was giving me the runabout. I have to explain? Unbelievable. I'll say it once and only once. I do not even have a second to waste. Time is money, as they say. Yes, and yet you continue to blather on. I saw it, yes I did. I saw the victim go onto the elevator, going down to the lounge. It was exactly at 6 o'clock. And what's the significance of that time? At 6, he says. Wait, you saw him at 6? What's the matter, Mr. Edgeworth? He understands, I see. Miss Attendant, at what time did you discover the body? Well, it was a little after that patch of turbulence, I would say around 6:15. Hicks was his name, wasn't it? Then I say the man Hicks was killed in that 15-minute time span. I mean, yeah, but that doesn't really mean anything. Oh, okay. That means a little more. And the only person in the lounge at that time was this prosecutor, yes? Yeah, I was in my seat the whole time. Me too. I was watching the movie and enjoying a fine glass of grape juice. It's all grape juice, I'm still eating. Still haven't finished, see? Still eating? At 6. There's no meal at 6. There's only a meal at 7. I knew it would be important! The other passengers have an alibi, so you have no problem with them, I suppose. No complaint, I see. Not a single word against this, right? I have no way of discounting what you have put forth at this moment, but it wasn't me. Oh, so you say. But do you have, what did you say, the evidence? Mr. Edgeworth, are you really the culprit after all? Mr. LeBlanc, I suppose you are quite certain of what you saw, enough to give testimony? Of course! I was looking at the man the whole time! He's playing with that annoying little, small machine the whole time. Machine? Yes, that's what you people call it in English, yes? It was making me crazy with the click, click, click. From that description, it sounds like some sort of small computer. I believe what Mr. LeBlanc was talking about is a cell phone. I have to say that I did see him playing with it quite a bit myself. A simple cell phone. A laptop or organizer I could see, but that's kind of low budget. I hate that noisy little machine in his hand. Not a fragment of beauty. All it produces is ugly sounds. Anyway, I know what I saw. Miss Tenero. Yes? I was wondering if I might be granted permission to examine the crime scene. What? You want to examine the crime scene? If you would grant me a little measure of time, I'm sure I can produce the real culprit. I don't like the sound of that. Fox in the duck pen. That's the wrong person. I don't like the sound of that. Fox in the duck pen. Yes, I think that is how you say it in English. It's fox guarding the hen house, and I believe my innocence was proven earlier. And if I'm given the chance, I can clear up all the remaining doubts. Miss Tenero, if you wait until we arrive, there is a good chance that some evidence will have been destroyed by then. I understand. Let me see what the captain has to say. Ha! This should not be approved! Please, Mr. LeBlanc, in an emergency, all decisions are to be made by the captain alone. Now, please wait here while I go ask the captain what to do. I'll be right back. You're not planning to erase evidence when you are doing your investigation, yes? Of course not. We will see. Mr. Edgeworth, you have the captain's permission to investigate the crime scene. What? Unbelievable! I'm in your debt, Miss Tenero. However, there is one condition. I am to supervise you. Can you agree to that? Of course, I see no problem with that stipulation. It's only natural as I am still a suspect in this case. I take full responsibility and will watch Mr. Edgeworth's every move. I hope this is reassurance enough that there will be no foul play. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, shall we proceed? If you should need my help with anything, please feel free to use T to talk. I think it's better if I read that in a robot voice. It's time to head to the scene of the crime. Oh my god, I can't speak. It's time to head to the scene of the crime. The first floor lounge. He looks so weird. If I may have a word with you. This steak, so awesome. That's great to hear. However, I would like to ask you a few questions. I was here the whole time, so wouldn't know. Eat or speak. Please pick one. I think he chose to eat. Yes, I can hear that. This was Mr. Hicks' seat. I don't see the machine Mr. LeBlanc was talking about. Perhaps it's in the elevator? Maybe. We should probably head down to the crime scene now. Fine. Who are you? Excuse me, but may I have a word with you? You there. If you need something, please ask Miss Red over there, okay? What the? Hey, wake up, you! I'm terribly sorry that she's being so rude, Mr. Edgeworth. No need for you to apologize. I just find it hard to believe that she's asleep on the job. If I were her boss, I'd see to it that her salary was cut so low that it was in the red. Yeah, that does seem to be his habit. In order to preserve the crime scene, I'm afraid the elevator is not in service. To get to the first floor lounge, we should take the stairs. This plane has stairs? Whoa! March 12th, 7:26 a.m. Flight G390, first floor lounge. I want to thank you for your help back there, Miss Tenero. It was nothing. You should thank the captain for granting you permission. And just so everything is perfectly clear, I still don't trust you. Your standing with me hasn't changed one iota. I see. I will bear that in mind. I received an order from the captain earlier. He wanted you to know that we reserve the right to stop your investigation if we feel you are not making progress. And when we do, he asks that you please return to your seat at that time. So, my time runs out at his and his crew's discretion, does it? I have to find a way to discredit Mr. LeBlanc's testimony before time's up. Wow, I just don't know how to speak words. I understand. By the way, is there any place you can think of where the killer might hide on board? I don't think so. After every first-class passenger was accounted for at his or her seat, we made a thorough search of the plane. As for business and economy class, no one can move between those two classes in first class without a staff keycard, and we found no record of a keycard being used at all. Which means that I have a first-class killer on my hands. At least I know that much for sure. And one other thing. No one else has been allowed near this crime scene since the murder was discovered either. Now then, let's get started. But where should we start from? Let's start with Mr. LeBlanc's statements. A crime occurred between 6 a.m. and 6:15 a.m. During that interval, the only person in the lounge was myself, which would make me the prime suspect. However, since I did not kill Mr. Hicks, it means that the killer was around somewhere. If we are to believe what you say is true, then yes. First order of business will be to gather information to win your trust. What floors does this elevator service? Only the first and second, although it can also go down to the cargo hold. However, that requires a flight crew keycard. So the only floors accessible to passengers are the first and second, But what if it was flight crew? I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. What is this sinister-looking figure on the floor here? Oh, that's a piggy bank of our company mascot, Captain Hugo. It's just one of the many pieces of merchandise we sell at our in-flight shop. This bank is a limited edition and is so popular that we're down to our last one. You have an in-flight shop? Yes, it's just beyond the lounge to the right. The shutter to the store is closed at the moment, but it was open the whole flight up until Mr. Hicks's body was discovered. There's blood on here. Could this have been the murder weapon? Probably, yeah. Money is strewn all over the floor of the elevator. I would guess it was all in Mr. Hicks's wallet at some point. There's something sticking out of his pocket. Hope he won't mind if I take a look at what's inside. It's a picture. Looks like it was taken inside a building somewhere. Okay, so that's his cell phone, and it's missing. I wonder what was hanging off of this lanyard. Something's missing from this picture. If I could just put my finger on it. Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Yeah, this.
Eureka!
Mr. Hicks's machine is nowhere to be found. His machine? His cell phone, Miss Tenero. So I guess because it's not here. Yes, I think we can safely deduce that the killer took it. I doubt anyone was expecting to find a dead body in the elevator on this flight. So, Mr. Hicks, he's really dead? Yes. She's trembling, although I can't fault her for that when there's a corpse right there. Mr. Hicks, if you're really dead, then please answer yes. What? I see she's over the trembling now, although a new symptom seems to have appeared. Anyway, I should focus on the victim's body. Let's see. There's blood on the back of Mr. Hicks's head. Could this be the cause of death? Appears to have been struck very hard. Even his glasses are broken. Okay, let's do some logic. Looks like that was in fact a murder weapon. A statue with blood on it lying next to the body of a man who was beaten to death. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth, I think I figured something out. Yes. What is it? The way the blood is on this, it looks like it matches up with the wound on his head. Well, aren't we deserving of the Master of the Obvious title? Jeez! That's so rude! Well, what do you think, Mr. Edgeworth? Don't you think that's worth investigating? It would appear that this figurine is our murder weapon. Oh, I just knew it! I mean, I can't think of any other connection. Perhaps Master of the Oblivious would be more befitting. Edgeworth is so mean! I mean, the killer must have been in the elevator. True, there wasn't anyone else in the lounge other than myself right before the turbulence. But if the killer was in the elevator along with the victim, then that's a different story. There's some spilled grape juice in front of the elevator. I assume it was spilled during the turbulence. Oh, we must clean that up or someone might get hurt. Aha! Shoe prints. I found some very important evidence. What is the important piece of evidence in this scene?
Take that!
What is it? They're a little smudged, but I think we can both agree they are a set of footprints. So you think... Yes, these belong to our killer. Oh, then maybe we should check the shoe sizes of everyone in first class. I don't think that will be of any help to us. Unfortunately, the prints are too smudged, which will make it hard to get a definitive match. Oh, I see. But what I can do is use logic. No, I don't think these fit. Honestly. The in-flight shop is just beyond these shutters, but we don't have permission to open them, so I'm afraid I must leave them closed. There must still be clues to be found here in this lounge. I must remain ever vigilant. Glasses and candles were thrown into disarray by the turbulence. It's been a while since I've seen this big of a mess. It's terribly embarrassing, but I thought it was an earthquake for a second, and I frantically started searching for gas valves to shut off. I guess the shaking of the plane was bad enough to be mistaken for a real earthquake. Not that I would know, since I was unconscious for most of it. These counter windows offer a glimpse of the sky, but these clouds, they tell me nothing. Mr. Edgeworth, you look like you're talking to the clouds. Is that so? And tell me, what do you suppose I said to them? I don't know, but it looks like a rather one-sided conversation. The clouds, they tell me nothing. Oh, great. These bottles and glasses must have been broken by the turbulence. There's quite a bit of broken glass here. Please be careful when passing through the area. Thank you very much for the warning, Mr. Edgeworth. However, no matter how kind you are towards me, note that it does not clear up any suspicions I have about you. I wasn't warning you for the sake of clearing my name. This door leads to the flight attendant's room, but please understand that it's off limits to unauthorized personnel. The room is giving off the scent of women's perfume. One would think that perfume would smell great, but to me it simply smells. Not that I have any interest in what lies behind this door. Perhaps we should return to the investigation, Mr. Edgeworth? Mr. Edgeworth? Sorry, I spaced out for a second there. What? This toppled over chair. Yet another victim of the turbulence. Ah, no! Look at all the grape juice staining the back. It may not look it, but this chair was extremely valuable. It was? Yes, it was used when the Rocker Pals came to tour the plane. Rocker Pals leader sat in this very chair. I'm sorry, but what are these Rocker Pals? I can't believe you've never heard of them. They're all the rage. The Rocker Pals are an extremely popular international band. They added the pals part as they became more popular, especially among teens. Ah, that explains it. I'm really not one for the music of today. Maybe I should ask Detective Gumshoe about them later. On second thought, I can already see how confusing the conversation would get. Yeah, me too! Okay, there's something... I already checked this area earlier, but it never hurts to take another look. Okay, have I looked at everything? Okay, in that case, I am gonna connect these with logic. I have it! I'm sorry, but I don't understand, Mr. Edgeworth. I can prove that someone other than myself was here around the time of the murder. What? Really? Yes, it's rather simple, actually. The proof is in the pudding. Or rather, the grape juice in this case. These footsteps here confess to me this very fact that someone exited the elevator alive. Seeing as how the victim is dead, that would mean a second person. But couldn't the footprints be from Mr. Hicks himself? But if you take a look at our victim's shoes, you can see the soles are spotless. Which means Mr. Hicks wasn't alone in the elevator. In fact, it's quite the opposite. There was actually one other person inside the elevator. What's going on over there? Uh-oh. Unforgivable! This is unforgivable! You understand what I'm saying? The movie is late! Bruh. Is this the same level of bad as... It's the same level of bad as if the plane arrived late. But the movie... What? I will not talk to you anymore. You are just wasting my time. What is the matter, Mr. LeBlanc? If there's no emergency, please return to your seat, sir. Do not tell me what to do. I need not to sit down. Well, Mr. Prosecutor, did you prove you are innocent yet? If you would like, I will prove my innocence to you right now. What? Nonsense! Are you saying my eyewitness testimony is mistaken? Not mistaken, merely that there is some room for doubt. I'd be most honored if you could please tell me what you saw in detail once more. Fine, suit yourself. I'm certain that I saw Mr. Hicks enter that elevator. It was when the needles on my pocket watch pointed to the 6 and the 12. The body was discovered 15 minutes after that in the lounge, yes? Then you, the only person in the lounge at that time, must be the criminal. Mr. LeBlanc's conclusions seem to make logical sense. After all, the only person in the lounge at the supposed time of the murder was me. So, my eyewitness testimony. If you think you can destroy it, then come, let me see. Hurry! Do I look like a man who is having the time to wait for you? Why is he so irritated? I'm the one accused of murder here. Anyway, I must find a way to discredit Mr. LeBlanc's account somehow, and fast. Okay, let's start by pressing.
Hold it!
Mr. LeBlanc, were you able to get a good look at the inside of the elevator at that time? Of course, I saw what was inside. And are you sure that the victim was in the elevator alone? Yes, the only person inside was that Mr. Hicks man. This last outburst is a bit too important to let go. Okay, well...
Objection!
This points otherwise. Mr. LeBlanc, what is it? There's a very glaring contradiction in your testimony. What do you mean? Please take a look at the area in front of the elevator. There, at the spilled grape juice. Yes, and? Will you admit you also spilled it with the blood? No, it spilled itself during the turbulence. But the interesting thing here is the set of grape juice footprints. Footprints? Yes, the ones that lead from within the elevator out into the lounge itself. It's evidence that proves someone other than Mr. Hicks exited the elevator alive. There must have been another person in the elevator with Mr. Hicks. Now then, I'm done playing games. Why don't you tell us the truth? I don't know how to translate that. Can you please translate for us? No way. That's totally impossible, I guess is what he said. No way! That is totally impossible! I know there was no other person in there. I saw with my own eyes. If you want to know what I think, Mr. Edgeworth, I don't think Mr. LeBlanc is lying to us. I suppose she's right. He doesn't seem to be lying. But then, what does it mean? What about this contradiction? Mr. LeBlanc, please, just once more, will you recall the details of what you just witnessed for me? What I saw, part 2. I was very upset when Mr. Hicks passed by my seat. I was always checking the time, over and over again. I happened to follow that man with my eyes when he passed me, and I saw clearly into the elevator he was entering. But I swear there was no one else inside. No one! Mr. LeBlanc, if you would please calm down. What? Dare you too have an issue with my eyewitness testimony? No, not at all. Please forget I said anything. Yet again, he doesn't appear to be lying, but I can't let this testimony stand as the truth. Okay, why were you upset? So, are you still upset now? I'm always upset! The only time I'm not is when I have a piece of art in my hands. It's surprisingly easy to believe that about him. But I was even more upset when Mr. Hicks walked by me. I was always checking the time over and over again.
Hold it!
Why were you so attentive to the time? Because something unforgivable was happening. Come to think of it, you were yelling about something unforgivable earlier. I was giving a complaint to the attendant about the movie's starting time. Return back to me my time, in money. You understand the point. Movie? She's talking about the in-flight one that's mentioned in the magazine. Right, that magazine again. Movie. From 6 to 8. I suppose that is why he would be upset. Because the movie was supposed to start at 6. That makes sense. Of course it brings up the evidence right after me. A summary of the plot and its start time. Interesting. It was supposed to show License to Love, Laugh, Maim, and Murder. I cannot see that movie in my country. You can only see it on international flights. Oh, I see. So he really wanted to see the movie. I looked forward greatly to that movie. I checked my pocket watch whenever possible so I would not miss it. I even set my pocket watch to the destination time when I came on board. So my watch is not wrong, it matched the schedule. Time zones. But the movie was still late. Very, very late. Your pocket watch. I'd like to ask you a little more about it, if that's alright. The movie I wanted to see would not start, so I checked my pocket watch many times.
Hold it!
So this movie you mentioned, is it the one listed in the Sky magazine? Yes! I was so looking forward to watching License to Love, Laugh, Maim, and Murder! Why was he looking forward to that so much? Miss Tenero, was this movie shown on this flight? Yes, it was shown at the scheduled time. Isn't it possible you simply slept through it by accident? Well, it's still the scheduled time. Nonsense! You doubt me? No! Now stop pointing at me like that! Odd. How did he miss a movie that he was clearly hoping to see? Time zones! I checked my pocket watch a great number of times. That much I know for sure. My watch is set to my destination's time. I always set it when I board the plane to your destination's time. Well, what if it's on the departing time?
Hold it!
You're sure about what you just testified, Mr. LeBlanc? Yes, of course. I'm a very busy man. I am immediately busy when I land. I have many places to go and no time to waste adjusting my pocket watch. I see. That was a very valuable statement you just made. Flatter me all you want, but you will not get 1 cent out of me. That's alright. All I require is this piece of testimony. Okay, so... all times shown correspond to our departure time zone. You fool.
Objection!
I knew it would be important! Mr. LeBlanc, you said this just now in your testimony. I even set my pocket watch to the destination time when I came on board. Now, if your watch has been set to our destination's time zone, it would mean that your watch is displaying the time of our destination. Yes, and the correct time is worth its 6 cents. I would like you to take a look at this. If you believe the Sky magazine, clocks on this flight run in accordance with the time of our departure time zone. Of course, the movie schedule is also created with that in mind. Miss Tenero, for confirmation's sake, what time zone is this flight aligned to right now? Well, we made a short stop at a transfer point. That's right, it was in that small Asian country, the Republic of Jiangfa. But we didn't readjust our onboard clocks at that time, so right now we are still running on Borginian time. What? The time difference between Borginia and our destination is 9 hours. In that case, it's only natural that your watch would be out of sync with the schedule. So he's been dead for 9 hours? What? Further, with your analog watch set to our destination's time, it would appear to be running 3 hours fast when compared to the flight's onboard clocks. Okay, it's 3 hours off. It also changes everything about your testimony. And you can bet 1,000,000 cents on that. In light of this information, it means you saw Mr. Hicks 3 hours prior at 3 a.m. By 1,000,000 cents! This should clear up all of the remaining accusations. So, it was actually 3 a.m., and he died within a 3-hour window. That makes the mealtime make much more sense. The whole mealtime thing with, like, it not being mealtime at 6, actually it was, because it was 9 hours ahead. Interesting. I thought we were right here in the middle, but we are right here at the end. That is weird. She's fallen asleep. So this basically widens the time frame for the time of death, right? Yes, because Mr. LeBlanc saw the victim enter the elevator at 3 a.m. It means that the time of death could be anywhere from 3 to 6:15 a.m. The question now is where Mr. Hicks was during that span of time and what he was doing. I've got something to say. And you are? Yeah, I'm Cammy Meal. I'm a flight attendant. And what is it you wish to say? Well, I think your story is a little different from how I remember it. What do you mean, Cammy? I saw Mr. Hicks sitting in his seat at 5 a.m., you know. What? How can you be so sure of the time? Oh, that's right, he pushed his call button while we were parked at the transfer point. Oh. Ah, the stop we made for refueling and cargo transfer in Jiangfa, correct? Yes, it was from 4 to 5 a.m. according to our clocks. And during that time, did any of the passengers leave or did any new ones board this flight? No. Not a single person got off or on in Jiangfa. What about the flight crew? The few who were handling the cargo transfer might have temporarily gotten on or off, but eventually everyone, including Cammy and myself, came back on the plane. So basically, I can assume no one left or got on since our initial takeoff. Interesting. I should keep that in mind. Yeah, and I answered his call. I can tell you Mr. Ackby Hicks was there in his seat when we took off again at 5 a.m. Alright then, that puts the time of the murder between 5 and 6:15 a.m. Okay, now what time did you come down to the lounge, Mr. Edgeworth? I remember coming down here almost as soon as we left the Republic of Jiangfa. You were here the whole time from 5, yes? And you are the only one who could be the killer. Mr. Edgeworth, were you really here in this lounge the entire time from 5 a.m. onwards? Unfortunately, yes. But then, how do we explain the footprints? Is that not obvious? This man waited for Mr. Hicks here in the lounge, waited to kill him! Then he put his corpse into the elevator! That is when the turbulence happened! My eyewitness testimony may have been mistaken. But what time I saw Mr. Hicks enter the elevator on the second floor does not matter, because the entire incident concluded here in his lounge. Everything happened in this lounge. Is that what you really believe, Mr. LeBlanc? Do you have another idea? I simply feel that there is something out of place in the scenario you presented. Is there something that can tie this crime to a location other than this lounge? Other than the fact that he was found in the elevator?
Take that!
I don't need to hear your wild desperation stories. Grasping for weeds, I think is how you say it, yes? I didn't mean to pull that piece out. It was a simple slip of the hand, I assure you. Okay, it's something else. Let me think this through. This can, because that was in the shop.
Take that!
The murder weapon. This little piggy bank is sold at the in-flight shop. It is sold there and only there, and is not displayed here in this lounge. How then did it find its way here? Don't you find that a tiny bit suspicious? Such a trivial point. It only means you prepare it, taking it from the shop first before coming here. Doesn't prove you innocent at all. Is there no way to win with this man? If I may. What is it? You see, it's just as Mr. Edgeworth says. Oh, and why do you know this so well? Well, it's just that piggy bank was there in the shop. I saw it with my own eyes. And when was this? It was maybe around 5:40 a.m.? Isn't that just before we hit that patch of turbulence? That's right. You were in the shop just before the turbulence? Yes, I was. Come to think of it. Miss Tenero, when I found the body, I believe you came out of that door. Yes, I did. And what is beyond that door? That's the flight attendant's room. I know that, because we saw that happen. But then, you were on the first floor? Yes. I had to do something at the shop and in the flight attendant's room. So I went to the shop first, and then to the flight attendant's room. Are you saying you passed by me at some point? Yes, you seemed really into the issue of Sky Magazine you were reading at the time. I don't suppose you noticed me walking by. I vaguely recall someone walking by, but I didn't take notice of who it was. Anyway, the piggy bank was definitely there at the shop when I went there. Why did you go to the shop in the first place? I went there for a work-related matter. Work, you say? Yes, the upkeep of the shop is also one of my responsibilities. Why did you not say anything about that until now is what I want to know. In any case, I believe it's clear that the shop needs to be investigated as well. Shall we head over there then? What is it now?
Aren't you forgetting something, Miss Rhoda? Don't you need the captain's permission to check the shop?
No, I haven't forgotten. But I've already asked him for permission to search the entire plane. So I think we're alright.
Huh? That's weird.
What is?
Well, I just talked to the captain, see? And he said that he didn't give you permission to do anything like that at all.
What is the meaning of this, Miss Tenero?
It means she's lying. Go on, admit that you are. You said you had permission to search all over, but you don't. And yet here you are.
You, flight attendant, what are you trying to do? Pull the sheep over us?
The captain's calling for you, Miss Rhoda. Oh, but don't worry. I already got permission to search the shop from the captain. See, unlike you, I do things the right way.
Miss Tenero, why would you do such a thing? Please excuse me.
Looks like I get to be in charge now. Please go back to your seat, Mr. LeBlanc. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you would follow me, I'll be your guide from now on.
There's something about Miss Tenero that has piqued my curiosity. But right now, investigating the in-flight shop is my top priority. Okay. Whoa. March 12th, 8:32. 8:32? We spent an hour in that other room? Oh my god. Flight G390, first floor, in-flight shop. So this is the in-flight shop. It's quite a mess in here.
You think? Guess I'll have to clean things up then.
Hold on, you can't clean up a potential crime scene.
Oh, thank goodness. I hate cleaning so much.
I mustn't rush things here. I must remain cool, calm, and collected. Because this piggy bank was left at the crime scene. There was a very good chance that the killer had paid this place a visit. Okay, let's start with the broken glass. The glass from this display case's door is shattered all over the floor. I mean, presumably they got the statue from right in here. And it looks like there's nothing on display inside either. Wait, actually, I think there is something. What's this? A mini captain's hat. It's the hat from the statue, and I know this because these little guys are the same symbol and they have hats. The hat probably used to be on the piggy bank's head. Let's give it a go and see. I believe this piggy bank was forcibly removed from this display case. Does this mean that the killer broke the glass to get at it?
Really?
And don't tell me you don't know what things go on. What things go where in this shop.
Well, I don't. Miss Rhoda's in charge of this place. So come on, how should I know anything?
I sense that further inspection of this display case is needed. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. The glass on this door is broken. Perhaps it was the killer who broke it in order to take the piggy bank? But it's a bit odd that the inside of the case is so devoid of glass shards. Plus, the glass broke rather cleanly. Ah! Well, what is it? I touched the glass and it cut my finger.
It hurts, Mr. Edgeworth, it hurts!
Please tell me you can deal with such a minor cut on your own. Is this the same man as the one portrayed by the statues around the elevator?
Yeah, that's a paperweight of the founder of GoU Airlines, Mr. Hugo Hughes. On the bottom shelf we have the cute one. On the middle shelf is the realistic one. And on the top shelf, that's the floral version.
Floral? Are you sure about that? Let me guess. You just said the first thing that came to your mind, huh? Right? Looks like I hit the bullseye. GoU Airlines related books line this shelf. The history of GoU Airlines, the future of GoU Airlines, the 7 wonders of GoU, Flight On, GoU Airlines, working name, GoU Airlines, You Go You! The titles make it very clear that they won't be making the top sellers list anytime soon. The hat on his head was found inside of a display case in the in-flight shop. I wonder if that fact has any bearing on this case. I'll come back to this. There are all kinds of luxury name brands merchandises in this display case, and they're lined up in just a manner as to scream "Buy me" to any passers-by. Stuffed toys, just like the one Miss Mila's holding, are on display here. They're relatively cheap, which explains why they're displayed so haphazardly.
How about it, Mr. Edgeworth? You know you want one too. They're great for when you're stressed.
Why do I envision stuffed animal abuse when she says that? What?! Inside this display case is a row of lifesavers and life vests for sale.
We sell a lot of those when there's some kind of accident or something, but some people buy them even when nothing's going on. How about it, Mr. Edgeworth? Care to buy one?
I sense that this shop is one shopper away from being sued. What are these?
Oh, those are our company's completely original line of suitcases. They're practically flying out the door. That is how popular they are. You should buy one and see how you like it. You won't regret it.
Perhaps that's how things work on this flight, but in the real world, you try, then buy.
No way! But either way, it doesn't really matter.
True. Either way, why would anyone buy a suitcase after they've boarded the plane?
Anyway, see that? Just look at all the Captain Yugo heads painted on there. A cute company mascot, isn't he? They're painted on with a lot of care. Doesn't he look like he's about to jump out at you?
I don't see it. It is certainly making something jump inside my stomach.
Huh? Oh, I guess there's no fooling your refined tastes. You looked like you really wanted to get one, and I thought I was gonna finally make my first sale, but you saw right through it. Glad that's done, though. Never make me try to give you a sales pitch ever again, okay?
But I never showed any interest in it to begin with.
It really is pretty horrible, isn't it? You wanna know something? This suitcase was designed by Miss Rhoda.
Miss Tenero designed this.
Yeah, it was a company-wide contest.
Well, it does have very sharp design sense.
Sharp? Like stinky sharp cheddar, maybe. I really have no idea why the bigwigs decided to go with it. It's so blah.
Miss Tenero designed this, did she? It's definitely not what I would have expected.
Ah! Are you okay?
I'm fine. Please watch yourself, Miss Mayo. Letting a suitcase freely roll around has gotta be a safety violation.
Here, I'll put it back.
What does that mean? Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? I think it's contradictory that there's no glass on the inside, right?
Eureka!
Because if the killer broke the glass from the outside to get into the case, glass would have fallen in. But the glass, it's completely glass-free. It's strange. There's definitely something very unusual about this.
About what?
If the killer had broken the glass to get at the Captain Yugo bank, there should be shards of glass inside the case itself.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I guess it'd be like that.
However, there's not a single piece of glass inside the display case.
Nope, no, there isn't.
Which means that the glass was broken from the inside out. The piggy bank must have fallen over from the turbulence and right through the glass.
Yeah, that's for sure. There's so much glass all over the floor.
I'm willing to bet that this hat was knocked off its head at that time, too.
Eh? That's nice.
Which leads me to believe that the killer took the Captain Yugo bank from here after the turbulence. She's passed out. Take your power naps on your own time, Miss Mail, and listen when I'm talking. Ah! But the murder occurred before the turbulence, which rules this piggy bank out as the murder weapon.
So you mean the bank's not the real murder weapon? It's a fake?
Yes, at this point that is a very real possibility.
But then what if when the killer went to take Captain Yugo, they broke the glass by accident?
The display case is locked, so that's highly unlikely.
Yeah, but there's one person who could have.
Oh, and who would that be?
Miss Rhoda, of course. I mean, she's the one in charge of this place, so she has the keys to everything.
Miss Rhoda Tenero, huh? Well, if there was turbulence, then the suitcase would have been moved, which could lead to more evidence. Yes, there is definitely something wrong here. Somebody put it back if it was there when I got here.
What's with the sudden yelling?
Tell me, Miss Meal, don't you think there's something strange about these suitcases?
Oh, well, sure, they totally ooze strange, like the color and such.
That's not what I'm talking about. Now pay attention.
Ah, you're scaring me, Mr. Edgeworth.
Sorry. These suitcases are lined up a bit too prim and proper.
Yeah, they look a bit uptight, don't they? But I guess they take after the creator.
Again, that's not what I meant, Miss Meal. Don't you find it unusual that these cases are the only things undisturbed by the turbulence? Never mind. I'd sooner find an answer by inspecting these suitcases myself. Upon closer inspection, they really are quite hideous.
I wonder how Miss Rhoda would have reacted if she'd heard what you just said. What's wrong?
She makes a good point. It would be wise of me to watch what I say out loud. What's this? I've spotted something that's not quite right. What is so unusual about this suitcase? These ones have stoppers, these ones don't.
Take that!
There's something very peculiar about these wheels.
Huh? As in,
there are no stoppers in place on these. Without stoppers, one would think that the turbulence would have sent it flying.
And
so, it is very likely that this suitcase was placed here after we hit that turbulence. Let's take a closer look at it, shall we?
Yeah, let's open it. It's got a tag.
A $1,200 price tag. Not exactly priced by someone with a conscience, I'd say. It would appear to be unlocked. Let's take a look at what's inside. A piece of cloth. And it's soaked with blood.
Ah! It's blood!
It appears that this suitcase is very strongly tied to a murder after all. It could be the murder weapon with the blood in the corner.
So, explain this to me. What does this suitcase have to do with the murder?
I believe it's pretty safe to say that the killer used the suitcase in some manner, such as to move something, perhaps?
But aren't you just talking about the cloth then?
That alone is too small. A larger item would be needed to move what I'm thinking of. The thing I believe the killer used the suitcase to transport is the body.
Take that!
Something that would fit inside a suitcase that is also covered in blood. Sounds like a dead body, doesn't it?
But first, let's look at this cloth.
For there to be this much blood on this piece of cloth, was the victim wrapped in it at some point? There's something very familiar about this fabric pattern. Wait, there is! It's this guy's clothes. In light of this, I'd say that Mr. Hicks was moved into the elevator from someplace else, which means that the murder was committed in an entirely different location.
So you're saying that after moving the body into the elevator, the killer brought the suitcase in here and just left it?
Exactly. What is it?
Nothing, just that I was thinking about what Miss Rhoda said about coming here for something.
Excuse me, Mr. Edgeworth. I wanted to give you a bit more time, but I'm afraid I wasn't able to convince the captain. I'm very sorry, Mr. Edgeworth, but the captain feels that he has allowed you ample time. He says that he'd appreciate it if you could wrap it up here and return to your seat. I understand his sentiments, however, if I'm not allowed to complete my investigation, the crime scene may become contaminated by the time we land. If I must stop, then I insist I be allowed to oversee the preservation of the two sites. Under your supervision, of course. If that's your only condition, then I believe we can accommodate your wishes. I'm here to assist you in any way that I can, Mr. Edgeworth.
Sounds like fun. We can camp out and watch over everything together.
I found proof that the real crime scene was not in the lounge, and I have enough evidence to prove myself to be innocent of any wrongdoing. And yet, regarding what Miss Meal reminded me about Miss Tenero, I can't allow my investigation to end here. The truth must come to light. Yes, the truth and what have you. March 12th, 1 p.m. local time. Hope Springs Airport. Wow, we just cut to showing up. Is that salmonella right there? Right here? That is salmonella, isn't it? I know that once we had landed, I'm supposed to let the local police take over. And thanks to Miss Tenero and Miss Meal, I was able to preserve the crime scene. But I just can't shake it. I wasn't able to talk with Miss Tenero in private. So I'm left wondering just what was she up to? Why did she do what she did? There must be a way for me to continue my investigation. Okay, that means it can only mean one person. I've been expecting you, Miles Edgeworth. Yes. Called it. Franziska, I thought you were still in Germany. I go where I am needed. And wherever there are criminals to be caught. Her name is Franziska von Karma, the daughter of my mentor, Manfred von Karma. She, like myself, is a prosecutor. Are you heading up this case? It would be a bit of a relief if you are. Don't you try to flatter me, Miles Edgeworth. I'm placing you under arrest. What? It's quite frustrating, actually. I'd hoped to exact my revenge on you in a different venue. But I'll have to take what I can get. I never thought I'd see the day when a disciple of the House of Von Karma would become a criminal. Have you no shame? Who are you talking about? The House of Von Karma is criminality. Manfred? If you'll recall? Wait, it has all been a big misunderstanding. I didn't kill the victim. A misunderstanding? I heard all about the murder over the police radio from the captain himself. He waited for the victim on the first floor and then beat him to death. Franziska, do you honestly believe that I killed a man? I suppose I should reserve judgment until after I have investigated this for myself. I can put your arrest on hold until then. That's as it should be. Ha! I don't need a lecture on how to perform my duties from you of all people. To be perfect in every way, the fulfillment of that creed alone is all I strive for. Well, I have my own creed which I must fulfill, so why don't we solve this together? I have to get going. The crime scene awaits. Don't you dare leave town. Trust me, I had no intention to. Detective Gumshoe! Yes, sir! Too slow! Ow! Listen up. I'm leaving you in charge of watching this man. Don't mess up, understand? Mr. Edgeworth? I'm supposed to guard him? A simple yes or no, detective. Yes, sir! Understood, sir! You just leave it to me! Miles Edgeworth. If you interfere with my investigation, I'll arrest you on the spot. Are we clear? Now then, if you'll excuse me. Good to see you again, Mr. Edgeworth. Boy, am I glad to see you're okay. Thank you, detective. I believe in you, sir. You can lean on me. I'll get you through this. I have to admit, I'm a bit curious as to what Franziska is up to. Maybe I should ask the good detective. Very well. In that case, I have a few questions for you. But first... Looking from behind. I think I've seen this man somewhere before. And so you... Oh my god, I can't.
Soviet Russia, lunchboxes eat you. Found it, lol. I regret this. Oh, I feel a weight of creative powers coming on. It's over 9,000 lols. No, I hate this. For my next elite movie, it's gonna be the Steel Samurai Warrior of Neo Old Tokyo versus the World Samurai Champion of Earth. It's gonna rock. There's so many. I can't believe I've done this to myself. So the Steel Samurai is finally getting a movie. I hate that I had to read that with my eyes and my brain. I hate that. So, how is the initial investigation going? We just shipped the body off to the coroner's office. And we're taking statements now, sir. It sounds like Francisca. She was always good at quick responses to a case. I'd say she was, a little too quick, sir. Oh? How so? I rushed on over as soon as I got word of the affair, sir. But somehow, when I got here, Miss Von Karma was already here barking out orders at everyone. It was kind of creepy, as though she knew there had been a murder or something. And had come in advance to await your flight's arrival. That is sort of odd. She did show up rather quickly, and out of the blue. Plus, I still don't know why she's here in America. There must be some backstory to all of this. Miss Von Karma just kind of popped up at the prosecutor's office about a week ago, sir. Something about chasing down leads relating to a certain incident. No details. It's kind of top secret, so she can't talk about it, even with me, sir. Knowing her, the only type of talking she likes to do is with her whip. Plus, I doubt that the top secret part was what stopped her from talking to you, Detective. Although, I wonder if her case has anything to do with mine. Anyway, that's about all the info I have, sir. We should find out more as we investigate. Yes, it is high time to resume my investigation, starting with talking to the people involved in this case afresh. I could just come back. 1:37 p.m. Flight G390, second floor, first class. So you must be the captain. Why, yes, I am. And who might you be? I am the prosecutor Francisca Von Karma, and I have a few questions for you. Don't you dare, Captain. Getting friendly with another woman? I'll never forgive you if you do.
What are you talking about? I only have eyes for you, my dear Cammy.
I wouldn't bet money that our dear Captain to be much of a reputable person.
Sure you don't want to ask the Captain some questions, sir?
He was in the cockpit the entire time. I highly doubt he would know anything of use. Anyway, I like to leave that type of witness to Francisca and her whip. Shrugs and leaves. Refuses to elaborate. First floor lounge.
Now see here! Sorry. I'm sorry!
What caused that?
How long do you intend to hold me? It's impossible for me to be the criminal, I told you!
Mr. LeBlanc.
Oh, it's you! Tell this man to stop stopping me from going. Time is money. I don't have even 1 second of wasteful time to spend.
Did you finish taking a statement yet?
Yep, all done, sir. I do not concern if you're done examining the cargo hold. I want my cargo back. If you make a single scratch on my art, you will pay.
Art? What sort of art? Mr. LeBlanc is an art...
Mr. LeBlanc is an art dealer, so he's got a bunch of artwork down in the cargo hold, sir. There's practically a mountain of them, large and small. From folk costumes to stone statues, I sell all kinds of art.
Folk costumes? Speaking of which, Mr. LeBlanc's hat kind of looks like that other piece of cloth.
Yes, it does. What do you have to say, sir? Mr. LeBlanc, can you please take a look at this for me? Ah, it's a Borgidian cloth! As I suspected, your hat is made of the same material, I suppose. Yes, of course. This fabric is so famous, orders come from over the seas for more. Then this is the cargo you were talking about earlier. No. My cargo this time is many gigantic. You detective, when can I have my cargo moved? You can get your cargo back when we're done investigating, pal. The stubbornness of you police, it is no good. And it is no good that attendant refuses to exit the attendance room, too. That attendant? I wonder if he's talking about Miss Tenero. What did you mean by that attendant, Mr. LeBlanc? She was taken into the attendance room for an interview. And then they still have not come out. They make no sign of coming out either. I was finished with my own interview much earlier, quicker than her. Why is Miss Tenero's interview the only one that's taking up so much time? Miles Edgeworth, you were given free rein to examine the plane, weren't you? Yes, I was able to obtain the cooperation of the flight attendants. Speaking of attendants, I'd like to speak with Miss Tenero. I wonder if you might grant me permission to enter the flight attendants' room? Before I do, you still have to clear up a few issues surrounding your own circumstances. I understand. You may have tricked those attendants with your sophisticated talking, but you can't pull the wool over my eyes, Miles Edgeworth. Oh, snap. Let's not complicate things and go with the most obvious conclusion. The scene of the crime was here, in this very lounge, that the body was discovered. From the time the victim was seen calling for an attendant until his body was found, the only person in this lounge the entire time was you, Miles Edgeworth. This unmistakably makes you the likeliest suspect. The likeliest suspect, Francisca? You have a problem with that? No, but it's not like you to use such vague wording. You're usually a bit more absolute. I'm simply trying to watch out for you. Or is my kindness too hard for you to comprehend? Thank you, but your leniency is unnecessary, for I will prove my innocence soon enough. If I want to continue my investigation, I'll have to break her line of logic fast. Let's not complicate things and go with the most obvious conclusion. Don't you think you're being a bit rash by simply declaring me the culprit? I like my affairs to be simple and perfect. I'll show you the meaning of both when I finish this whole thing within 3 minutes. Hey, you say that like you're cooking a pack of instant ramen noodles. I won't allow even 3 seconds of useless testimony to be uttered in my presence. I see she hasn't changed a bit. But I won't allow her to send me to prison so easily. The scene of the crime was here, in the very lounge the body was discovered. From the time the victim was seen calling for an attendant until the body was found. Let's press this first. So tell me, Francisca, do you know all there is to know about the crime scene? I know all that I need to know in order to arrest you. And nothing more? Are you saying there's more I need to know? Ah! Why did you whip me, sir? Sorry, Scruffy, my hand must have slipped. It would appear that Francisca doesn't have all the facts of this case yet. From the time the victim was seen calling for an attendant until his body was found. What do you mean by seen? Please stop pretending like you don't know. It's insulting. Obviously, I'm talking about how Mr. Hicks was seen calling for an attendant at 5 a.m. And then from the time after that call until the body was found, the only person in this lounge the entire time was you, Miles Edgeworth. While it's true that I was in the lounge the whole time, that fact alone does not make me the criminal. We'll see about that at the conclusion of this investigation. However, there is one thing that even you must admit at this time. This unmistakably makes you the likeliest suspect. Under the circumstances, I suppose I can agree that I am the most likely suspect. But I believe in you, sir. I don't think you did it. Miss Von Karma's gotta believe that too, right? I mean, you two are like siblings. Ow! Quiet, Scruffy. Even if we were related by blood, that's no guarantee that he's not a criminal. Francisca, I demand to see some proof that you are not the guilty party.
Likely a suspect, huh? What a roundabout euphemism. But it would appear she doesn't yet know about the new evidence that we acquired and where we acquired it. I'll take care of the gaps in her logic one hole at a time. Okay, it definitely wasn't that. It was here.
Objection!
I can prove it with the suitcase. It would appear that you did not have all the information you needed after all. What does that mean? I found a nice piece of evidence just before I was forced to stop investigating. A piece that proves the body was moved from a different location. The killer used his suitcase to move the victim's body, meaning that the real scene of the crime is not this lounge at all. Now who's the one rashly jumping to conclusions? Foolishly foolish, you might say. Excuse me? All you did was find this piece of cloth inside the suitcase. That doesn't prove that the body was moved. It could be that the killer simply chose that suitcase as a good place to hide the cloth. I expected you would come to that conclusion. It would seem I can't escape that easily. You should know better than that. Yvonne Karma is perfect in every way. Ah, but did you know that the killer definitely wheeled the suitcase around at some point? As if there is proof of that. Where is the proof that the suitcase was moved around? I mean, it's the suitcase still, but I'm sure that's not the answer. The dragging was the wheels!
Take that!
The spilled grape juice in front of the elevator. That little dragging streak was the wheels as it was wheeled back. Yes, and I'd like to draw your attention to this area here. Where is the evidence that proves the killer dragged the suitcase through here? It's this.
Take that!
This mark here. Wouldn't you say that it looks suspiciously like tracks from two wheels? I suppose. Further, there is also grape juice residue on the wheels of the suitcase. This means that the suitcase containing the victim's body definitely passed through here. I suppose this means that the killer did move the victim's body from somewhere else. I'm glad to see you've come to your senses. Not so fast. This still doesn't put you in the clear, not by a long shot. You prepared yourself and acquired the piggy bank before the plane hit that turbulence. And then you waited for the victim in the lounge where you beat him to death. Then, while you were in the elevator with the victim's body stuffed into the suitcase, the plane hit that patch of turbulence and out flew the body from within the suitcase. With no way out, you hastily put the suitcase back where you had taken it from and pretended to be the discoverer of the body. Not a bad bit of logic for something you thought of on the fly. Just what are you insinuating? That I will show you exactly how flawed your logic is. No matter how strong of a face you put on, not even you can hide your fears from me. I'll expose the flaws in her logic in one fell swoop. You prepared yourself and acquired the piggy bank before the plane hit that turbulence. Actually, the piggy bank was acquired after the turbulence. Immediate objection. The fact that you took this piece of evidence into account in your testimony is to be commended. Your legal prowess is certainly something to be feared. Evidence and logic, essential tools that those who would stand in a courtroom must learn to master. But what if there was a fake piece of evidence thrown into the mix? A fake? This Captain Hugo piggy bank is just such a fake. It is not the real murder weapon. What? The timing of when the bank was taken from the shop is important. It was taken after the turbulence had occurred. But then, what about the blood on the bank? What do you make of that? I assume it was added after the murder when the killer fabricated this weapon. Looking at it this way, the killer basically did three things after the turbulence. After exiting the elevator, the killer brought the suitcase to the shop and left it there. Then the killer proceeded to pick the bank up from off the floor and took it to fabricate a fake murder weapon by hitting the victim on the head. Finally, the victim's wallet was planted on my personage, in my pocket to be precise. Everything was done so that I would be framed for the murder of Mr. Agby Hex. You there!
Yes, ma'am. Other than this piggy bank, was anything else resembling a murder weapon found? We didn't find anything in this lounge or in the shop that could be used as one, ma'am. Most of the items that could have been used were broken during the turbulence, and the remaining items all tested negative for any trace of blood. I see. Well, Miles Edgeworth, it appears your stall tactics are at an end. But it's possible that it's just hidden somewhere, sir. If the criminal had wanted to hide the weapon in a safer place, I'd think the weapon would have been hidden in the same place as the bloody cloth. Exactly what I was thinking. Because the cloth was hidden inside that suitcase, it signals to me that the killer had not prepared a more secure place to hide the evidence. Which means that the real murder weapon is either still on the murderer's personage, or is still at the real crime scene. There is one more possibility, and what would that be? That the piggy bank is in fact the real weapon. But didn't we just... Let me finish. The killer took the bank from out the display case before the turbulence by opening the lock on the display case door. And it was at that time that the glass pane in the door was broken. I'd say that's a perfectly reasonable line of reasoning, wouldn't you? Let's see, so that means that the killer had the key to the display case. Francisca, the person you're talking about. Not so fast, I'm not finished. The person I'm talking about has also committed another sin. She tricked the captain and granted you permission to conduct your investigation. Yes, it is the sin of lying. Speaking of which, I recall that you also wish to speak with her. Yes. Very well, permission granted, but only if I can sit in on your interrogation. Do we understand each other? I have no intention of interrogating her, but you are welcome to accompany me if you so wish. Miss Tenero's in the flight attendant's room. Let's move. Flight G390, first floor flight attendant's room. So you're the one that poked around inside this plane without the captain's permission? Deviating from the flight attendant's manual is very unbecoming, you know. What were you hoping to accomplish by doing that? Miss Tenero. Ah, Mr. Edgeworth, you're here too? Can you please help us and shed some light on why you did what you did? All right. It's pretty easy to tell who sleeps in which bunk just by looking. I'm almost certain that the well-kept one on top belongs to Miss Tenero. Yeah, this bottom one is a giant mess. You sloven, squalid scoundrel of a man! You dare to scrutinize a woman's bed and invade her privacy? Yow! There are some things in life best kept to yourself, detective. Another suitcase. It's one of those suitcases designed by Miss Tenero. You can tell it's hardly ever been used by the lack of a single scratch on it. So these are the attendants' lockers, huh? Let's hurry up and examine them, sir. Why must men always be so rude? Besides, who exactly gave you permission to search through the attendants' lockers? Wait, detective. It would be uncouth of us to look in a woman's locker without her permission. Yeah, I guess so. Plus I feel this murderous draft, and I can sense a whip not far behind. Okay, let's talk to her. Why did you lie about receiving the captain's permission like that? Because I didn't think I would be able to get his permission. What do you mean? The captain, he only has ears for Cammy. I spoke with the captain a little earlier myself. He definitely seems to be rather taken with Miss Meal. Also, can we just talk about Cammy Meal? What a name. Yes, and on top of that, I had mistakenly accused Mr. Edgeworth of being the killer. I wanted to make amends. In that case, please allow me to thank you for what you did. Thanks to you, I was able to clear myself of all charges. Really? You were able to prove your innocence? Oh, thank goodness. Miss Tenero, is it? There is one more thing I'd like to ask you. You were in the in-flight shop just before the turbulence, weren't you? Please answer honestly. Yes, I was. And why were you there? Well, Why the sudden hesitation? Francisca seems to have struck a nerve.
All I did was go check up on the shop like I always do. You're saying it was for work then? Yes, I'm in charge of the shop, so I have to keep an eye on it. I don't have any reason to go there otherwise. After your visit to the shop, you paid a visit to this room, correct? Yes, I came back to freshen up and adjust my makeup. I'm sorry, but there isn't much else to tell. Miss Tenero claims to have no other reason than duty to go to the shop, but is that all there is to it? Maybe I should ask her about that thing. If you could please take a look at this for me, Miss Tenero. Oh, that suitcase! Yes, about the suitcase. You are the one who designed it, correct? And I think I figured out something else about it. This suitcase is the reason you went to the shop, isn't it? There's nothing you won't find out eventually, is there? Won't you please tell me more about this suitcase? Yes, I was interested in seeing how the suitcases I had designed were selling. I know that as a service professional I'm not supposed to care. But I really wanted to know. I was glad to see that it was the last one there. The last one there? There are two there. The last one there. Even without the one that the killer moved. Wait a minute. What if they just hid the thing in the other suitcase and then put the stoppers there as a deterrent? I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth. I don't know how to answer you. As a professional flight attendant, I'm a failure. She must be worn out from the long questioning sessions she just went through. Aha! So you're saying, Miss Tenero, that the suitcase in question was the last one? Yes, they're just so popular, they're practically flying off the shelves. With the face twitch. Why the face twitch? That's not exactly the impression I got. The one in the shop is most definitely the last one. Well, we're currently looking at that suitcase. Really? And I guess we sold all of them. Thank you very much for taking the last one. I didn't say anything about buying it. Then say you'll buy it. I'm sorry, I can't. But why? I think it'd go great with your complexion, Mr. Edgeworth. It really suits you. I guarantee it personally as a service professional. Well, that is... How should I put this? It's hideous. What? Maybe that was a bit too direct. Moving on. My issue with the suitcases isn't the design, it's the number of them remaining. Remaining? There were 2 suitcases in the in-flight shop when I investigated it. 2? But that's impossible. I'm sure there was only 1. Looks like your story has generated quite the contradiction. When I left the shop, I'm positive that there was only 1 suitcase left. Something is amiss here. What could be the meaning of this inconsistency? By the way, Miss Tenero, what is one of those suitcases doing here? That's... I thought you said there was only 1 left. That one is, it's mine. I've used it for a very long time now. It still has a price tag and no scratches. Miss Tenero, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't lie to me. Excuse me? I don't believe for even 1 second that you've used this for a very long time. What proves that this hasn't been used for nearly as long as Miss Tenero says? Literally everything about this suitcase. For 1, I already examined it and it's completely scratchless. For 2, it still has the price tag. For 3, it wasn't designed all that long ago.
Take that!
Tell me, Miss Tenero, is it also your habit to keep the price tag pristine on your suitcase?
What is the meaning of this? Why would you lie about a suitcase?
Despite having faith in her design sense, the sales number made her cry bitter tears. The truth is becoming increasingly clear to me. Miss Tenero, I think I understand. I know what you are trying to hide. Now then, the suitcase was originally in the in-flight shop. Seeing as how the price tag is still on the suitcase, one can only assume it is out on the floor for sale in the shop. And the person who bought the suitcase was...
It was herself, wasn't it? She bought it herself.
Take that!
It was you, wasn't it, Miss Tenero? I hate to say this, but the suitcase that you designed, it hasn't sold very well, has it? You saw how poorly this design that you poured your heart into was selling, and were deeply hurt. That's why you wanted to make it look like it was selling by buying it yourself. Isn't that right? Then, the reason you went to the shop and came back here was... I'm sorry. All I really have is my job. I was overjoyed when my design was chosen. I thought that maybe I'd finally accomplished something. But the suitcases didn't sell. It's because of the design, isn't it? All because it's, as you put it, hideous. That's so mean! I can't say they chose a great place in which to sell them, either. Yeah, who sells a suitcase on the plane? It's, like, it's pointless there. And also for $1,200. We weren't selling a single one, and they were just sitting there collecting dust. I felt so bad seeing them there, day in and day out, so I decided to buy one for every flight I worked. Every single time? You buy one every single time you work a flight? I see, so in order to keep a resolution, you went and bought one today as well. How can she afford that? Yes, and here's my receipt for that purchase. Literally, how can she afford that? It's a ridiculous amount of money to spend. The receipt is clearly time-stamped 5:40 a.m. That's really important because that further reduces the time period of the murder. Because we know it had to happen before 5:40 a.m. because she only saw one suitcase, which means it was in use then. The truth is, there's still a bunch of them left unsold. We're planning to scrap the remaining ones at the end of this flight. Miss Tenero, where are these other suitcases? They should be down in the cargo hold. Then the suitcase the killer used could very well have come from the cargo hold. Mr. Edgeworth, you don't think that the killer used one of my suitcases too? Yes, I do. The killer used one of your beloved suitcases to move the victim's body. Ah, how could they? Those suitcases were meant to be faithful partners to our passengers on their trips. That's all I ever wished for them to be. Miss Tenero, is there any other way to get to the cargo hold other than the elevator? The only other way is just through that door there. And what about security? That door has no special lock installed because just to enter this room, you need a special keycard that only crew members have access to. Which means that the culprit is someone who can enter this room, eliminating the passengers and leaving only crew members as potential suspects. I can't believe it. Yes, Francisca? Going on these wild goose chases, you're a disgrace to the Von Karman name. What do you mean by that? The suitcase came from the cargo hold. That fact alone tells the whole story. Yes, which is why I said the culprit must be a crew member who used a keycard. Miles Edgeworth! You're proposing that the killer rode the elevator from the cargo hold, correct? Yes, that's the only realistic possibility. That other attendant, Miss Meal. I asked her earlier and she had this to say. Francisca got information out of Miss Meal. In order to make the elevator go down the cargo hold, a different keycard is required. A different one? Yes, and the only person who holds that particular card is you, Miss Rhoda Tenero, and only you. Ah! What? Is this true, Miss Tenero? Yes, I keep that keycard in my locker at all times. Could you please show us that card right now? Yes, hold on. It's gonna be stolen. Ah, I don't believe it! What's wrong? The keycard, it's gone! Called it. Ha ha ha. Very clever. Pretending that your card was stolen when in fact you're just trying to hide it from us. You really thought this through. Well, wait, it's not like that. You could tell us all about what it's like down at the station. Officer, arrest this woman. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Edgeworth? What's wrong? There's disbelief written all over your face. Francisca, I know that you are the lead investigator on this case, however. Hold it! Don't even think about wasting any more of my time. You know the rules as well as I do. Evidence speaks louder than words. Even if this isn't a courtroom, that basic tenet still applies. I intend to investigate the cargo hold now. What will you do, Miles Edgeworth? I intend to do likewise. Whew. Okay, I think I have a suspect, because it has to be one of the crew. I think it's Cammy. She seems sus. March 12th, 2:52 p.m. Flight G390, lower deck, cargo hold. Wow, so this is the cargo hold, huh? It's so big! That's a lot of suitcases, and one happens to be missing. This plane is a special model. It has both a super large cargo hold and ultra luxurious first class seating. So is this the real scene of the murder? There's certainly a high probability of that, which is why we are here, correct? Okay, let's get investigating, sir. Yes, let's start with the suitcase. Holy suitcases, Mr. Edgeworth! It's like an all-you-can-use suitcase fair. This must be all the leftover ones they couldn't sell. The ones the company is planning to dispose of after this flight is over. This paint job is really cool, don't you think? It practically screams artsy. Oh, why not purchase one then? I'm sure it will bring you much happiness. You think so? Maybe I will. Let's see here. $1,200! I think I'll pass. And Miss Tenera wonders why they don't sell. You'd need 2 jobs just to buy one. Although, it definitely looks like one is missing. How did she buy one after, like, during every single flight? How does she do that? What is this brittle substance I'm stepping on? It's a bunch of glass fragments. Obviously. I think we can safely conclude that these fragments are from a pair of glasses. And the victim was wearing a pair of broken glasses. Exactly what I was thinking. I'm sure that the shards would match up perfectly with the remnants of his glasses' lenses. Ergo, the victim was here, just as I suspected. So you're saying that the real scene of the crime is here, sir? Isn't that what I've been saying for a while now? Oh, is it? I didn't know that. Perhaps it's a bit early to draw that conclusion. However, I believe that the probability has just skyrocketed considerably. All that's left is to find the murder weapon. Other suitcase. Keeping track of this many pieces of cargo must be very taxing on the cargo crew. It sure brings back memories of when I worked as a part-time mover, sir. By the look in his eyes, he's waiting for me to ask about the rest of the story. But no matter how he pours on the puppy eyes, I have no intention of doing so. That's so mean! Hey, what's with the suitcase, pal? It's what the victim checked in, sir. So, this suitcase belonged to Mr. Hicks. I don't think he'd mind if we took a closer look. There's nothing out of the ordinary in here, sir. Wait, a file? And there's a photo of Miss Von Karma in it, sir. It looks like a profile of Francisca. What? Why would Mr. Hicks have had a file on her? What? Oh, I just love pushing the buttons on elevators and crosswalk signals. Here, you should give it a try, sir. Go on, push it. The elevator is currently stopped on the first floor, Detective. It can't move. Oh yeah, I guess nothing would happen if you pushed it now. Well, nothing would happen normally anyway without the special keycard. Both the door to the attendance room and the elevator's control panels require a keycard, which makes it impossible for a passenger to come down here. You arrived at the scene of the crime before Detective Gumshoe, correct? And you then immediately began to direct the investigation. It seems to me that you were already here at this airport for something besides this murder. Yes, I was. I've been following a very large and involved governmental-level international crime, but it's much too large for one person to take on alone. So it was decided that I should form a joint investigation with Interpol. Hicks was the Interpol member! Logic! Interpol is involved. It's a top-secret investigation, so I really can't tell you any more than I already have. That's why Hicks was killed, because he was the Interpol agent. She was awaiting Hicks' arrival, but he is dead. Now, why would Mr. Hicks have documents profiling Franziska? Oh, I know! I bet he's a big fan of Miss Von Karma, sir! Franziska said that she had come to this airport as part of an Interpol investigation. Oh, maybe Mr. Hicks had heard she was coming here and he followed her! Detective, I think it's more likely that Mr. Hicks was, in actuality, Interpol agent Hicks. I think Franziska has some explaining to do. You came to this airport to rendezvous with the victim, didn't you? Nonsense! What are you talking about? We found a profile detailing information about you in the victim's luggage. I suppose it was prepared for him so that he could recognize you when he landed. Which makes him not Mr. Hicks, but rather Interpol Agent Hicks. Isn't that correct? I can talk. Isn't that correct? I should have known you'd figure it out, Miles. But it looks like they got to him first. So you really did come here to receive an Interpol agent, then? Yes. Agent Hicks was on the trail of a very large international smuggling ring. Perfect motive for murder, I guess. He went undercover to investigate this crime, and it was I who put him on this case. I was supposed to receive a call from him on his cell phone once he had landed. That's why he was fiddling with the phone. I never expected to receive a call about his murder instead. I think we now have pretty definitive evidence that Agent Hicks came down here to the cargo hold. But what was he doing down here, sir? There's nothing but luggage. Oh, I get it. Maybe he forgot something in his suitcase and came down to get it. Ow! Agent Hicks came here for a work-related reason, of that I'm sure. Yes, I'm sure he was sent here to investigate the smuggling operation he was in. I can talk! Yes, I'm sure he was sent here to investigate the smuggling ring he was observing. Sometimes after you talk for 2 hours straight, it gets kind of hard to keep talking. Franziska, do you know exactly how he intended to pursue his investigation? No, unfortunately I was going to find out from him after he landed. I see, but this raises another question. A normal passenger can't access the cargo hold on their own. Agent Hicks must have identified himself to a member of the crew and entered the cargo hold with that person who let him in. Yes, and then he was murdered here. These glass fragments and his broken glasses are a testament to that. And then the killer put Agent Hicks into one of the spare suitcases and they entered the elevator. But while they were riding it up, the plane hit that patch of turbulence. Because of the intense shaking, the suitcase popped open and Agent Hicks' body flew out. At the same time, his wallet fell out of his pocket, spilling its contents everywhere. Which explains why there was money scattered all over the elevator floor. Yeah, that all tracks. I think it's pretty easy to say who the culprit is at this stage. What? Really, sir? I know what you're thinking, Miles Edgeworth. But the killer can be none other than Miss Rhoda Tenero. Or Cammy. If it was a crew member, any one of them could have shown Agent Hicks to the cargo hold, but the point to keep in mind is the keycard that allows the elevator to come down here. The only person with such high-level access is Miss Rhoda Tenero. I'd say that's a pretty decisive piece of information, wouldn't you? At 5:40 a.m. I know what she's trying to say, but I'm not certain it's as simple as that. Me neither.
Hold it!
That might be true, but then it could be anyone, including Miss Mueller, even the captain. Don't be a fool. A plane without a pilot in the cockpit is like a horse without a rider, crop in hand. Much like Scruffy over there. Yeah! I can't disagree with her on that. Detective Gumshoe does always need a guiding hand. That's not the pressing matter, Edgeworth. Very well. Then what about the other flight attendant, Miss Meal? I thought you might ask about her. But the point to keep in mind is the keycard that allows the elevator to come down here.
Hold it!
But it's highly likely that the keycard was stolen from Miss Tenero. It's highly likely? Is that possibility the best you can come up with? And you call yourself a disciple of my father. Ugh. Yes, well, while I don't have any evidence, Be quiet! You're a disgrace! There's more evidence pointing to Miss Rhoda Tenero, you know. It's not just the keycard that gives her away. I mean, it's mostly the keycard that gives her away. Like, it's pretty much just the keycard. Are you talking about the murder weapon, the Captain Hugo piggy bank? Oh, never mind, it's not just the keycard then. Yes, she is also the only person with a key to open that display case. Further, there is the matter of the key to the display case that held the murderer's bank.
Hold it!
Objection!
But that is a fake. Stop right there, Miles Edgeworth. You don't have any proof that this is just a red herring. If you must keep on insisting that it's a fake, then what is the real murder weapon and where did it go? Speechless, I see. That's not a surprise. After all, you know that we've searched the entire cargo hold and came up empty-handed. There must be a way. There must be something that can help me rule out the piggy bank as the murder weapon. What should be examined further to help us ascertain the authenticity of the weapon? The body. Francisca, I think you were too quick to jump to your conclusions. Oh, was I? Yes, we don't even have the autopsy results yet. How can I not say that you made a snap judgment when you have yet to even see if the wound on Agent Hicks's head is consistent with the murder weapon? Scruffy! Yes, sir! Contact the medical examiner's office at once! I wish to hear the result of Agent Hick's autopsy. Yes, sir! I guess we'll see that soon. Or right now, okay. Well, we've got a big problem, Mr. Edgeworth, sir! What is it, detective? They're still doing the autopsy, but they said that they already know this one thing for sure. Report, now! The doc said that it's one giant bruise from a beating from his shoulder down to his mid-back. That's a big one. From the victim's shoulder to his mid-back. He was beaten over such a wide area? Well, I'd say maybe it's a sign that the killer had a grudge against Agent Hicks. It wasn't just his head. The killer went all out and hit him multiple times, sir. Scruffy! What is had a grudge against Agent Hicks supposed to mean? Well, that's, Was the wound on the victim's head consistent with the murder weapon, detective? Oh, well, they said they were still looking into that, sir. You're completely useless! Yow! Sir, I told you already, you can't go down there! No, you must remove yourself from my way! I already know who that is. What is all this racket? My luggage! My cargo! They're mine, and I demand you return them to me! We're still investigating the cargo hold. Please understand and have a little patience. I suppose there's no choice. Finally, I think he gave... Hey, what are you? You've left me no choice but to use strong force. Arr! You won't get past me! This is... Wait, that's it. So that's what this whole thing has been about. He fell? He was pushed? That's it. Further, there's the matter of the key to the display case that held the murderous bank. After all, you know that we searched the entire cargo hold and came up empty-handed. The doc said that's one gigantic bruise from a beating from his shoulder down to his back, so he just landed on his back and was pushed. There is no weapon. I can't see a clear connection between these two pieces of information. Okay, it's this one then. It's not. Okay, oh my god. Okay, that's how I can prove it's not the real murder weapon. We'll start with that. Allegedly, the killer struck the victim many times over, which is why there is extensive bruising over such a wide area. But is that really the correct conclusion to draw from the evidence? The bruise from his shoulder to the middle of his back is one continuous mark, could not have been caused by the weapon, which is more suggestive of a single blow to the back. If that's the case, then the piggy bank is much too small to have caused that. Therefore, the murder weapon must be something far bigger. If we're looking for a rather large weapon, you'd think it would stick out. But so far we haven't found anything that resembles a weapon of any sort. Perhaps, just perhaps, it's something we all overlooked from the very beginning. Stairs! Because normally it's too impossibly big to be taken into consideration. What was that all about? Was he trying to jump his way down here? Francisca! What? What do you want? I found it, Francisca. I found the real murder weapon. You did? Hey, he really jumped! We didn't realize it until now, but the answer's been right in front of us this whole time. He might be hurt. We should go check up on him, sirs. Gumshoe's just very concerned for the man. There's that pompous attitude of yours again. You should learn to drop that habit. This coming from a prosecutor with a habit of whipping everyone she comes across. Anyway, if you really are a prosecutor, then you'll back yourself up with evidence. You two aren't listening at all, are you? Come on then, show me this real murder weapon you speak of. I don't have evidence to show. I don't have any evidence to show you. Foolish reasoning for a foolish fool from a foolishly foolish fool meant to fool me. What do you mean by I don't have any evidence to show? Perhaps I should have phrased it as, that which caused Agent Hicks's death is incorporeal. Forgive me, but I do believe I figured out what was the real cause of death. Free fall. The victim fell from a great height and subsequently died as a result. In other words, the real cause of death is free falling to the ground. He fell to his death? Yes, this is the only plausible possibility. The victim has extensive bruising on the back of his head and his back, and the only rational explanation for these injuries is that he fell to his death. But the murder happened inside this plane. I know. Are you claiming that there's someplace in this plane from which he could have fallen from? As I said earlier, the answer has been right in front of us the entire time. You can't mean... Yes, I do. The victim fell from the top of the stairs of this very cargo hold. Well, then, we're in trouble. We may have a second death on our hands, sirs. Hey, you! Tell me you aren't dead, pal! Quiet! Why aren't you screaming? He's alive! And there you have it, Miles Edgeworth. It's not possible that Agent Hicks fell over the railing to his death. That man is living proof of that. Who says he fell over from there? I suppose that it's true that it's not possible, given the current circumstances. The current circumstances? What is that supposed to mean? He died before the cargo was loaded on the plane. Suppose that the large piece of cargo wasn't there at the time. What would have happened then? It would have been Borginian pancake for sure, sir. I suppose that man over there wouldn't still be breathing. But the reality is that the cargo box is there. So there is no point in entertaining your wild hypothetical scenarios. It may be there now, but there is no proof that it was always there. Ha! As if there could have been a window of time when that giant box was not there. Ah, but there was. What? What can I use to show her that it's possible the box was not always where it is now? It's the refueling in Fangjia. Or Zhengfa, sorry. You refueled in the Republic of Zhengfa? Yes, this flight had a short layover in Zhengfa in order to refuel. But that wasn't the only reason for the layover. We also transferred some cargo. What if the box in question was only transferred onto the plane at that time? To further prove my point, let's take a look at what's next to the box in question. It does raise the question, though. He was seen at the very end of that refueling / cargo layover thing. So, like, how? It's labeled Zhengfa Express! Correct, meaning it was loaded onto the plane in Zhengfa. But he was seen at 5. Unless they put his body there? But how would that work? No, that can't be it. Now, what if the box in question... I already said that. It would mean that the box was not here in the cargo hold during the Europe-Zhengfa leg of the flight, making a clear drop from which Agent Hicks could have fallen to his death entirely possible. But your theory is still very far-fetched. Then allow me a chance to prove how very likely my scenario is. My first order of business will be to examine that piece of cargo in more detail. Yeah, let's move it. Keeping track of this many pieces of cargo must be very taxing on the crew. Oh, we saw this already. I should examine it from the top, huh? Oh, that's so weird. Do you think they'd sell it to me at a discount? Oh, or why don't they sell them in the airport and have a bargain basement sale? Buy one, get one free! If you win the raffle, you get one more for free. How about those ideas, sir? I think if they did that, everyone would lose. Jeez. This is a rather large piece of cargo. There's a tag on it, sir. Let's see. Olive Red Statue? Never heard of it. Nor I, but all I care about is if we can prove it wasn't here at the time of the crime. Let's get investigating, sir. No, he lost the battle! Look here, don't go about touching my possessions without my permission! Just don't rush up on me like that, pal! So this belongs to Mr. LeBlanc, does it? I should see what else I can find out from him. I take it that this large piece of cargo belongs to you, Mr. LeBlanc? Of course it is mine! I shipped this fine piece of art from Europe! This Olive Red statue is worth 10 million cents! No, maybe much, much more! 10 million cents? It's only $100,000. Mr. LeBlanc's reason for choosing this plane must have been the large cargo hold. 10 million cents! I suggest you stop trying to calculate how many packets of noodles that makes, Detective. Darn, how did you do that? I feel like you keep getting better and better at seeing right through me every year. Though I grow with each revolution of the planet around the sun, I have the distinct impression he continues to madly spin in place. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, so that 10 million cents, is that in euros or dollars? Does it really make a difference to our case? Mr. LeBlanc, there is a chance that your cargo is related to our murder case. I was wondering if you would allow us to examine it a bit closer. It's a very valuable piece of art, so no, there will be no touching. Smuggling. That would make sense on why he's so concerned. If Mr. LeBlanc has something to do with the smuggling ring, and it's possible this fake statue was brought on board in Jingfa. Why do you just assume it's fake? I think I need to question him a bit further. About your statue, Mr. LeBlanc. I wonder if it might be a fake. What? How dare you say that my art is fake? I suspect that your statue might be the target of an international smuggling ring. Don't say such fantastical things. Those thieves would not dare. I have the certification of my cargo right here. Do you mean the cargo certification document? Mr. Zinc LeBlanc, why didn't you say so earlier? Please show it to us at once. I can't read this. What does it say? It says as plain as day. The cargo is put onto the plane in Europe. And there you have it, Miles Edgeworth. Too bad for you. The statue was brought on board in Europe just as it states in the certificate. No, that's... Which means that there never was a window of time in which the statue wasn't sitting here. Well, that one was. What about the other pack? The other, cargo? I respectfully disagree. We can't discount the theory until I see the statue for myself. Then you could have your wish. Look at it yourself and see I'm right. This. I know I've seen this somewhere before. This is the Aleph Red? Gives off such a feeling of art. I can practically smell it. This statue has a high amount of historical value. After it was unveiled at a museum in Europe, I brought it to this country to exhibit it. It's this. I believe a closer look is warranted here. So this is the infamous Aleph Red statue. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? Did you find something? There's something wrong with this picture. We should examine it in more detail. Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Yep. Because that is not there here. I'm not entirely confident that there's a contradiction here. What do you think, Detective? Well, I think it's really suspicious looking, sir. My well-trained gut tells me so. I see. Well, then I must be mistaken. Wait a minute. Eye color? They're supposed to be red. They're smuggling gems. Because it's just supposed to be red. But they're using the art to smuggle. I get it! These eyes are awfully orange, don't you think? Yeah, and pretty. They remind me of sunsets when I was in grade school, sir. I don't think you see what I'm talking about. No, I do, but it really is like the color of the sun when it's setting, sir. Ah, the memories. I remember standing out in that field, spinning with my arms out until I felt ill. I don't care about sunsets. Focus, Detective. What color are the eyes in this photo? Huh? Ah! Sir, they're red! As I thought, this statue is a fake. Mr. LeBlanc, what do you want? Do you not know I'm a busy man? I'll allow you 2 seconds for your answer. The Aleph Red. I suppose this is your pride and joy, is it not? It is the biggest trophy on this European trip. Do you know why I wanted to possess this statue? The trigger started 17 years ago. Better grab a chair, sir. Sounds like this is going to be a long story. Mr. LeBlanc, I regret to inform you, and you have my heartfelt sympathy, but... What is that, sympathy? For what? Well, you'll see. I'd like you to compare the eyes. That large fellow there has bright and pretty eyes compared to you. I wasn't talking about the two of us. I meant the eyes on the statue in front of us and the one in this photo. Why the sudden yelling? Now then... Oh! It is a photo of the statue on display at the museum in Europe. Mwah! Now do you see, Mr. LeBlanc? The statue before us is a fake. A fake?! He seems genuinely surprised. I believe that even further examination will be required now that we have confirmed that this is indeed a fake. There must be some sort of proof this was brought on board in Jangfa, and I will present to you evidence that will resolve the remaining contradiction. The statue is sitting on top of this cloth, which was brought in Jangfa. Proof! What's this? The statue looks like it's stepping all over its neighbor's cloth cover. Kinda resembles its owner's attitude in a sense. You, what did you say just now? Furthermore, my closing time is not being stepped on by anyone. It's too expensive for me to allow that to happen. Please forgive the trespasses of my subordinate. Why should I forgive the trespasses? Unless it is an expensive dress, you keep it. Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold?
Eureka!
Well, I am! I'm confident because how would it be on top of this cloth if it was boarded in Europe? That's the contradiction. What have we here? It says Jangfa Express on the cloth, sir. Something is tugging on the corner of my mind, as though something is out of place. Okay, I'll present it on this instead.
Eureka!
What? I see the contradiction, but I don't know how to present it. So this Alfred is a fake. But our dealer isn't looking too happy about it either, sir. I will get to the bottom of this for his sake as well as mine. Okay, maybe I'm presenting the wrong thing. Oh, I just present the cargo. There's clearly a contradiction here. What are you going on about? It's just a simple case of a cargo cover getting stuck under another piece of cargo. Ah, that's not possible! But it is. It shouldn't be this way, but the statue is on top of the cloth. Supposing that the neighboring piece of cargo was brought on board in Jangfa, there is no way that any part of it should wind up under something from Europe. Which means that this fake statue is smuggled on board in Jangfa. But then what about the cargo certificate? Let me ask in return, what about Agent Hicks? Why did he come down here in the middle of the flight? There's only one reason why, to secure proof, active proof of smuggling aboard this flight. So you say, but I don't believe he had to do that mid-flight. We could have just as easily inspected all of the cargo after the plane landed. That may be true, however you have it backwards, Francisco. Sure, Agent Hicks could have waited until after the plane had landed, but he had a reason for coming down to the cargo hold. Suppose he had found the fake at the airport, it would have been after the swap had occurred. At that time, the suspicion would naturally fall onto the statue's owner, who would have no way to prove that the statue was switched without his knowledge. Which means that there is someone involved who is forging or modifying cargo certificates. That's complicated. I guess the victim knew the real version of this was going to get nabbed, huh? Yes, while this photo could be seen as nothing more than a simple souvenir, it was in fact taken to be used as a reference document later on. Next, Agent Hicks had to secure proof that the smuggling had taken place. He came down here to take a picture of the cargo hold, a rather empty one at that, right before the fake statue could be loaded on board. A photo of the hold's missing a valuable piece of cargo would have been proof enough. After that, all he had to do was hold the Jangfa's cargo crew and arrest the smuggler. Exactly. This only goes to prove my theory. If the statue was not put in the cargo hold during the Europe-Jangfa leg of the trip, there would have been enough height from which Agent Hicks could have fallen to his death. Officer! Move the statue immediately! I want a thorough examination of the floor underneath. Now! Miss Von Karma, I'm ready to report my findings. Go on.
After moving the olive red statue out of the way, we tested the area under it with luminol, and there was a reaction.
I see. There's a reaction to luminol, an indication that there was blood in that spot.
Can we stop looking at it now, sirs?
You can't even see it, Detective. Calm down. It would seem that my deductions were correct after all. I suppose it would appear that way. The culprit cleaned the blood up well. And how do you think the killer did that? How did the killer clean up all the blood? The cloth!
Take that!
The killer used the bloody cloth I found inside the suitcase to clean up the mess. I see. They didn't need to clean up all the blood before the plane landed in Zhangfa. Yes, because otherwise the cargo crew would have discovered it during the layover. So you guys are saying that the murder happened before the plane landed in Zhangfa? There is no other conceivable timeline for the events of the murder. But that is true, then that throws a certain person's testimony into doubt. If the murder occurred before we landed in Zhangfa, then this becomes highly suspect. Miss Meal's testimony. Recall Miss Meal's testimony about Agent Hicks in regards to when we departed in Zhangfa.
I saw Mr. Hicks sitting in his seat at 5 a.m., you know.
She claims Agent Hicks was alive at the time of the service calls, but that totally contradicts the facts, sir! But why would she lie about something like that? I think the only person who can answer that is Miss Meal herself. Yes, that does make sense. We're gonna get our answers. March 12th, 3:35 p.m. Flight G390, lower deck, cargo hold. Miss Meal. Miss Meal!
Huh?
Do you recall what you said earlier? About when you answered some service calls as we were departing from Zhangfa?
Huh?
You said that Mr. Hicks was sitting in his seat at that time. However, that is simply not possible. Because Mr. Hicks was dead long before we ever touched down in Zhangfa.
Oh?
Miss Cammy Meal.
Maybe I didn't see what I thought I did?
No one can make a mistake so large, Miss Meal.
But I make that kind of boo-boo all the time.
This is going nowhere. There must be a better way of resolving this contradiction. Very well, Miss Meal, if you please tell me about your alibi during the time span. From just before we were to land at 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. when the body was found.
Are you telling me I'm a suspect, Mr. Edgeworth?
Oh, I believe so. She is passed out.
Oh, yeah. From 3 to 4, I was, in the flight attendant's room all by my lonesome self. Yeah. And from 5 to 6, I was, in the flight attendant's room all by my lonesome self.
And 4 to 5? How's a man supposed to react to a testimony like that? Miss Meal, wake up! She fell asleep again. Looks like the only way I'm going to be able to wake her up is by pressing her. You've left an hour out of your alibi. Oh, yeah. Hold it! Miss Meal, wake up!
I'm awake.
Miles Edgeworth, I demand that you do something about this flight attendant this instant! Why ask me to wake her up when you can finally put that whip to an appropriate use?
From 3 to 4, I was, in the flight attendant's room all by my lonesome self.
Hold it!
If I remember correctly, food was being served in first class in the lounge. Between the hours of 3 and 4 a.m.
Yeah, but that kind of stuff's run by Miss Rhoda.
Then what were you doing in the attendance room at that time?
Eating, and then having a most delicious dream.
You mean you were neglecting your duties?
No way! Sleeping's part of our job too, you know. Oh, yeah.
Hold it!
Miss Neal, how many times do I have to repeat myself? Wake up! Oh, I'm awake. Youch! What did you whip me for, sir? Dude, whip her. She's the only one. Like, as mean as that sounds.
Oh, what did I miss?
A poor detective being on the receiving end of a lash in your stead.
Really? Sorry about that.
You can make amends for that by continuing with your testimony.
And from 5 to 6, I was in the flight attendant's room all by my lonesome self.
Hold it.
So you were alone the entire time, were you?
Yeah, no one else even popped their head in to say hi.
Oh, well, I think a contradiction just popped in to say hi. What should I do? Should I raise an objection? Oh, yes. Because if you were all by yourself from 5 to 6, then how could you have seen him at 5? Miss Meal, there was a contradiction in your testimony.
Huh? What are you talking about?
It's not possible that you were alone in the attendance room the whole time from 5 to 6 a.m. Because she put a suitcase in the attendance room then.
Take that.
Got it. That's what I'm supposed to say. I wonder if you would be so kind as to take a look at this receipt, Miss Meal.
Huh? A receipt? For what?
It's for the suitcase Miss Tenero bought. Now, if I may direct your attention to the timestamp. As you can see, it clearly says 5:40 a.m. Miss Tenero. Yes?
Huh? Why is the killer here? I thought you'd have her locked up by now.
I requested that she be present as a witness so that we may straighten out your complex lie. Now then, Miss Tenero, between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m., you took a trip from first class down to the first floor in-flight shop, correct? Yes, I went to the shop to buy a suitcase. After which I went straight to the attendance room to drop it off. And did you see Miss Meal there at that time? No. So, Miss Meal, where were you really between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m.? Miss Cammy Meal!
Huh? The bathroom?
I'll be the one to ask questions here.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I probably just missed her. Nature calls, you know.
Do you take me for a fool? That's a little too convenient to be true.
But it's the truth. Cross my heart.
I don't have enough conclusive proof to counter-argue her at this stage.
You don't believe me, do you? But please, won't you give me a chance and hear me out?
Very well.
Look, I know you're suspecting me because I'm one of the crew. But you'd think then that maybe you should also suspect Miss Rhoda too. She's the one in charge of the elevator keycard in the shop, you know. If you ask me, that makes her super suspicious.
Please leave Miss Tenero out of the conversation. Only you are under suspicion for now.
I don't get it. Why are you covering for Miss Rhoda all of a sudden? Oh, now I get it. Maybe you got your eye on Miss Rhoda.
Of course I'm keeping an eye on her. I can't very well let her escape, can I?
Never mind. But you want to know something? Miss Rhoda actually kind of like...
I have absolutely no interest in people who can't appreciate my sense of design. Now's not the time for this sort of talk.
Reason for suspicion. Look, I know you're suspecting me because I'm one of the crew.
Hold it.
No, it's not the only reason I have for suspecting you. Your statements regarding Mr. Hicks also turned out to be a bunch of lies.
But say I wasn't an attendant. You wouldn't suspect me then, would you?
Yes, I suppose that's true enough.
But you'd think then maybe you should also suspect Miss Rhoda too.
Hold it.
She's already being detained for further questioning, or have you already forgotten?
Oh, yeah. Guess I just forgot. Cammy, don't tell me you suspect me too. Sorry, can't help it. I mean, other than you, there's no one else who could have done it. Can't believe you would think that. I mean, me, a killer?
Miss Meal, what did you mean by it now? What do you... I'll try that again. Miss Meal, what did you mean just now by no one else who could have done it?
She's the one in charge of the elevator keycard in the shop, you know.
Hold it.
And what are you in charge of, Miss Meal?
I take care of the attendance room.
That doesn't count!
Oh, but I spent so much time in there, it might as well be my responsibility.
Mr. Edgeworth, Cammy is very talented in languages, so she assists passengers who may not speak English. Especially those who speak Borginian. She's the only one on this flight who's fluent.
Oh, you mean that kind of what am I in charge of? Why didn't you say so in the first place?
What else could I have meant?
Yeah, so I'm really good at Borginian. She's fluent in Borginian. Then I suppose you're in charge of processing documents in Borginian? Yeah, I take care of anything that has to do with Borginian. Very interesting. If you ask me, that makes her super suspicious. Actually, your on-the-job behavior makes you super suspicious in my eyes. Huh? But why? Well, Miss Tenero is busy with the passengers and all of her other duties. You have a lot of free time on your hands, thus providing you with ample time to commit the crime. Miles Edgeworth, I demand that you cease and desist in this line of conjectural questioning. I won't allow you to bluff your way through this like a certain defense lawyer. But I do honestly believe Miss Meal does... Okay, let me try that again. But I do not honestly believe Miss Meal does any actual work aboard this flight. Well, that's not true, Mr. Edgeworth, although, well... All I'm in charge of are the attendance room and some Borginian stuff.
Hold it!
So what exactly do you do as the one in charge of some Borginian stuff?
I do stuff like translate things from and into Borginian. Cammy is the only member of the crew who understands Borginian, Mr. Edgeworth.
Miss Meal, I take it then that it is your job to process all the Borginian paperwork?
Yeah. See, I totally pull all my weight around here.
So it would appear. Perhaps I should ask her for a few more details about her work and... Miss Meal, it's very unladylike to push suspicion onto someone else.
That's not what I'm doing at all. I'm just saying that Miss Rhoda is very
There you go, pushing everything onto her again.
I don't get what you're saying. It must be a really abstract concept, huh?
The only thing abstract here is the landscape inside your head. Okay, Borginian stuff. That would be the fake thing. So,
Objection!
you know, what the heck? So, you are the only one in this flight crew that speaks Borginian. Is that correct? Oh, yeah, I guess so. I studied abroad in Borginia for a while. If that is the case, then the signature on this document belongs to you, doesn't it? This is a falsified piece of documentation with only one purpose, to lead anyone who read it to believe that Mr. LeBlanc's statue is loaded in Europe. The only person who could have either prepared or processed this document in Borginian is you, Miss Meal. Suddenly she's attentive-ish. Without your participation, the smuggling of the alley red could not have occurred. Okay, she's not paying attention. Don't sleep while I'm pointing my finger at you! Whoa.
Oh, I wouldn't dream of falling asleep on you, Mr. Edgeworth.
It is exactly as you say. She got serious. Are you confessing to having participated in the smuggling?
No, far from it. It's true that I was the one who signed off on that document, but you can't use that fact alone to make your allegation of smuggling stick. There's no direct correlation after all. All you have is my signature on a piece of paper.
She changed a lot. Really, all you did was sign it.
I neglected to check if the cargo had been loaded onto the plane properly. So sorry about that.
Seems that she's finally woken up. This is gonna be one tough fight.
Suppose, and this is just a supposition, even if I was involved in the smuggling, you can't throw the charge of murder on me just like that.
If you were involved in the smuggling, you would have a strong motive to kill. Agent Hicks was in the middle of an investigation regarding a smuggling ring, and just when he was about to close in, he's killed by a member of that ring.
Well, did you ever stop to think that maybe Rhoda is the smuggling ring member? After all, unlike me, Rhoda has access to many things on this plane for work purposes.
So perhaps there is some element of a setup at play in this case.
What are you talking about?
Don't worry, I wasn't talking about you. I meant the killer. First it was myself, and now it's Miss Tenero who's under the microscope. Seems to me that our killer is going to great lengths to pin this crime on anyone they can.
You have no proof that Rhoda is being set up, or that she isn't.
Actually, I believe that she was indeed the intended target from the very beginning. I believe that the plan was to push all of the blame on the crime for her. And this evidence will prove my suspicions. This proves that the killer was out to frame Miss Tenero from the very beginning. The fake murder weapon.
Take that!
This piece of evidence will answer all of our questions. Oh no. Are you sleep presenting or something, Mr. Edgeworth? No, as you can plainly see, I'm wide awake. Haha, then I'm afraid you failed. You're making so little sense that I thought maybe you were asleep. Talked about our Dr. Sleepy Mrs. Hyde-esque transformation. Is this it? But wasn't there a piece of evidence that's still unaccounted for? I need to stay calm, think carefully, and then present the condemning evidence. This proves that the killer was out to frame Miss Tenero from the very beginning. It's the suitcase.
Take that!
The killer could have hidden the body anywhere, and yet they chose the suitcase. Why is that? Perhaps it was to move the body up from the lower deck to the first floor. However, why go through the trouble to do so? The only way out of all of these actions makes sense. Let me try that again in a way that makes sense. The only way all of these actions make sense is if the killer had wanted to frame Miss Tenero for the murder. Miss Tenero buys a suitcase on every flight she works without fail. But should her suitcase be switched with the one containing the victim's body, that would put her in a very tight spot. Unfortunately for the killer, the turbulence put an end to that plan. But there wasn't enough time to put the body back into the suitcase. Ergo, they made do with whatever was at hand, adapted their plan, and tried to frame me as I lay unconscious on the floor from the turbulence. The killer then went to hide the suitcase in the in-flight shop, and brought the piggy bank back to the elevator in order to fabricate a false weapon. A lot of work for a fruitless endeavor, wouldn't you agree? Sounds like the killer had a tough time too, huh? I mean, why did the killer need to frame someone that badly anyway? That is because of the special circumstances surrounding this particular case. What special circumstance dictated the need for the killer to frame someone? Where the murder took place. Special circumstance is simply that the murder took place on a plane mid-flight. No matter which country, customs is quite strict in this day and age. So no matter what you do, the chances that the body will be found is very high. Therefore, there was no choice but to frame either Miss Tenero or myself. In other words, the only one who fits within the boundaries of the criminal's movements is not Miss Tenero or myself, but you, Miss Cammy. Only you and you alone could be the killer. Yawn. And... Are you done already? I was about to fall asleep again. Anyway, let's be honest here. You don't have anything on me other than a whole lot of circumstantial evidence. I can see the outline of how the murder occurred, but I have no definitive evidence. And isn't there a piece of evidence that's still unaccounted for? Something that I still can't quite fit into the big picture? Is there? The cell phone.
Take that!
I don't have any actual evidence. I thought not. But that's because it went missing, and still is. Missing? What do you mean by that? In the complex puzzle that is this case, there was one piece I kept getting stuck on, and that is the victim's cell phone. Francisca, you were waiting at the airport for a phone call from Agent Hicks' cell phone. Or at least, that's what you told me. That's right. But Agent Hicks' cell phone could not be found at the crime scene. You mean the killer took the phone with them? Precisely. I suspect that if we were to find that phone, it would lead us to the killer. Come on, get serious. Are they just gonna have Francisca call the phone and it's gonna be on Neil? If the victim fell to his death from that height, wouldn't his phone break as well? We won't know that until we try a little experiment, will we? Francisca, I'd like to ask for your assistance. He's just gonna have her call the phone. It's gonna ring on Cammy Meal. You know the victim's phone number, do you not? Of course I do. This is gonna be great. Agent Hicks' phone! It's ringing from somewhere, sir! I hear it, Detective. Now where's it coming from?
In her bunk. Ringing is coming from somewhere in here, sir. Leave no stone unturned, Detective Gumshoe. We must find it. Doesn't seem to be over here. Let's look somewhere else, sir. The ringing's coming from in here, sir. What? No, it can't be. It was planted there because it wasn't like that before. It's gotta be the victim's cell phone. Just whose locker is this, sir? It's Miss Tenero's. But there's that cloth sticking out, proving that it was opened. What? I understand. She planted it. Probably right when she put back a key card that is now mysteriously returned, I would guess.
So, Mr. Edgeworth, how did it go? Where did you find the phone?
I found it in the flight attendant's room, in Miss Tenero's locker. What? But... Rhoda Tenero.
I don't know anything about the phone. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Miss Von Karma, is it? I suggest you arrest Miss Rhoda Tenero right away.
Wait, I have a theory. This is related to the incident with the keycard. When the killer went to steal the keycard, they conveniently stashed the cell phone in Miss Tenero's locker at the same time. This is related to the keycard, all right. In the same way that we have zero proof that the killer did just that. The only voice that sings the truth is evidence. That is the one bird we cannot ignore. What should I do? Francisca's right. I can't offer baseless conjecture at this point. Alright then. Why did the culprit take the cell phone from Agent Hicks? He must have taken a picture of the culprit, I'm guessing. He must have something very incriminating on or in it.
Hold it!
What now, Miles Edgeworth? It's not over yet.
Let me look at it.
The LCD is broken. Without a screen, you can't even place a call with this. But the SD card? This must be the switch that opens the phone. The LCD is broken here, too. When did they start putting keyboards like these into cell phones? Doesn't this take place in 2010? Or like 2017? Very recent? Computer cell phones. Yeah, it's got a computer in it, and it's a cell phone. Neat, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? All you need in a phone is the phone part, nothing more. I'm guessing yours can't even send out email. Talk about inconvenient. You have a problem with what I do and do not care for, Detective? No, sir. As I say, simple is best. This is like a phone from the 2004. Like, this is too old for this. It's a camera lens. Come to think of it, I wonder, how exactly was Agent Hicks planning to preserve the crime scene of smuggling? With an SD card, where is it? Yeah, I used to own one of these phones. Not this exactly, but it was very, very similar. And it was a long, long time ago. I can't do anything. It's not over yet. We have yet to figure out why the killer took the phone. What? Inside this phone lies the final piece of incriminating evidence that will point us to our killer. We need to examine this phone in more detail. Okay, now I can do it. It's a camera lens. Oh, okay, fine. Sure, okay, I didn't actually miss anything. I was just stupid to examine it too fast. Francisca, I need you to confirm something. This cell phone, can it take pictures? It has a camera, of course it can take pictures! Mr. Edgeworth, I can't believe you don't know about this kind of basic stuff, sir. This looks like a very similar model to my own. And mine can take photos just fine.
You think Agent Hicks could have taken some pictures with this? In particular, pictures as evidence for a smuggling case. If so, I'd say there may be some very inconvenient photos in here for our killer smuggler. But the phone's all busted up, sir. Even a super prosecutor can't repair a broken phone. But we can put the SD card in Francisca's phone. Yawn. May I go back to sleep now?
Objection!
The LCD screens on the inside and outside are broken, that's for sure. But that's also reason enough to believe that the killer wasn't able to erase the data. What? What do you mean by that, Francisca? It looks like our killer isn't very familiar with electronics. His phone still rang when I called it, meaning that only the LCD screens are broken. It's possible that the photos are still there inside, waiting to be accessed. All we need to do is transfer the data to my phone. Francisca, your phone, if you please. Very well. It's transferring. Alright, displaying it now. Is that a hole? No, that's normal. Okay, never mind. This is... Agent Hicks was most certainly trying to obtain some evidence for smuggling case. Hey, the Alfred is nowhere in this picture, sir! But this has no meaning as a piece of evidence in this murder case, right? Ouch, she's right. There's not much we can find out from this about Agent Hicks' killer, sir. Is this it? Is this the end? Is there really nothing in this photo we can use? There is something. The case. The case is still there. The fact that all of the suitcases are here in this photo is odd. Agent Hicks was still alive at the time, so what exactly is so odd about the suitcases that haven't been used yet being there? Yes, well, I was only pointing out things that are different between now and then. Your off-topic ramblings have put this attendant to sleep yet again, Miles Edgeworth. I'll give Sleepyhead here a rude awakening, a deafening objection, and a contradiction. Boxes of bed sheets. Those are still in the cargo hold, though. There's nothing unusual about them in particular, but I can't shake the feeling. If you're just playing around, mind if I go home? Yes, I mind. What exactly is different between then and now? It's been turned around. I think. These boxes, though. What's all this? Oh, they're a cargo ship from Borgania to Zhengfa. So the reason they aren't here now is that they were dropped off in Zhengfa. Mr. LeBlanc, can you tell me the contents of the boxes? Fortunately, there is no English written on them anywhere. One cluster of boxes is written in Borganian. It says... cloth in English. Cloth? Could it be? Is this where the killer... What? What is for that scary face? Miss Meal. Yes? It appears that Agent Hicks was no ordinary investigator. He left us with a piece of evidence after all. A striking piece that will point out who his killer is. Ha! She wouldn't know that it said cloth unless she spoke Borganian, Maybe you shouldn't force your mistaken reading of a simple picture, Mr. Edgeworth. A Borganian cargo in this piece of evidence will point us straight to the killer. Here's the thing, though. Rhoda Tenero would not have known that that box said cloth. Thus, she would not have known where to get this.
Take that.
And what is that supposed to prove? The killer used this piece of cloth to wipe up the blood that they had spilt. But there was one thing that bothered me this whole time. Where did it come from? And now, I have finally found my answer in this very photo. The cargo that was unloaded in Zhengfa had cloth written on it. In Borginian, that is. And this is where the killer grabbed a piece from to clean the blood up with. That's right. The killer was someone who could read and understand Borginian. And the only crew member that fits that description is you, Miss Cammy Meal. Ha! That's pretty flimsy. The killer probably searched through all the boxes looking for something to use. When you're frantic, you don't care if the box is in English or Borginian. Sorry, but I cannot agree with your assessment of the killer's indiscriminate nature. What? There was no need for the killer to tear through boxes at random at all. And if the killer supposedly could not comprehend Borginian, well then... logically, the killer would have opened this box first. Bed sheets.
Take that!
Hey, it says bed sheets in English right on the box! Precisely, and bed sheets would be perfect for cleaning up blood, wouldn't you say? But those wouldn't be dropped off, therefore, it was not very particularly usable! Ha ha! Checkmate! So what are you trying to say? If I were the criminal, this box of bed sheets would have been what I would have spotted first. However, the killer chose to use some Borginian cloth. Do you have an explanation for that? The killer didn't want anyone to know that the real scene of the crime was this cargo hold. By using the bed sheets, it would have been discovered. So they were afraid to leave signs at the box where the sheets had been opened. All they had to do was tamper with the paperwork and say that there was always one less cloth. Who could have done that but the person who could read and speak Borginian? However, the Borginian cloth, well, that's a horse of a different color. Because the killer knew that it was going to be unloaded in the Republic of Zhengfa? That's right. That is why the Borginian cloth was used. And the only Borginian reader on board who could have made such a calculated decision is you, Cammy Meal. And you alone. It would be very easy for us to confirm if any of the boxes were resealed. All we would have to do is contact the Zhengfa authorities in time. We may even find other evidence to incriminate our killer within those boxes. So what do you say, Miss Meal? Why not confess to your crime here and now? Would you rather wait and see what we find out from our investigation in Zhengfa? No! No! He was Interpol. I couldn't stop it. I brought him here. He started taking pictures. I couldn't be found out. I was scared. I was in trouble. I pushed him. March 12th, 5:26 p.m. Flight G390, first floor lounge. We finished making all the arrangements to take the suspect in, sir. Very good, detective. What about the smuggling route? Did she say anything about that? We're taking her down to the precinct now. Hopefully we can get more out of her there. Whenever we even approached the topic, she just started foaming at the mouth. It was scary, sir. Same thing as the other guy. She probably wasn't prepared to commit a murder all of a sudden. One thing is for sure, the ring behind this whole mess means serious business. It looks like there's a lot more to this case than meets the eye. Mr. Edgeworth! I just wanted to say how much I appreciate everything you did. Thank you very much. It was nothing. In fact, I should be the one thanking you for your cooperation. But truly, if it wasn't for you, I might not be here right now. Instead, I can continue to serve our passengers as a flight attendant. I hope that... Well, please accept this as a token of my appreciation. That's... I see. You don't have to take it if you don't want it. No, I mean, I would never turn down a lady's generous offer. Oh, thank you. I'm sure it will serve you well. I'm gonna give it to Gumshoe immediately. And remember, we here at GoU Airlines are always ready to serve, Mr. Edgeworth. Thank you. I'll keep that in mind. I must bid you farewell. May all of your skies be blue no matter where you go. I can't believe we wound up investigating the whole day, sir, but boy was it fun. Speak for yourself, my day was filled with earthquakes, elevators, and false charges. By the way, where's Francisca? Oh, she's filling out some customs paperwork for her departure. Departure? Yeah, Miss Von Karma's always really busy, sir. She's been flying from country to country to chase down some leads regarding her case. Detective, can you cancel the car I had you reserve earlier? You got it, sir! March 12th, 5:47 p.m. Hope Springs Airport. Francisca?
I thought I told you when you first landed. I have no time for idle chatter. I have no intention of wasting your time, however, it has been a while since we last met. I also have no time for such familiar reminiscence. Just who do you think I am? You are Franziska von Karma, a very proud prosecutor deserving of much respect. Until only a little while ago, I was but a wretched mutt who was always losing to you. A dancing Pierrot, That's how you say that, right? Dancing Pierrot... Pierrot? A dancing Pierrot living her life on the name and fame of her invincible father built. True, your father, Manfred von Karma, didn't lose a single case for 40 years as a prosecutor. However, I wouldn't say he was invincible. What are you talking about? The group I'm on the trail of is a little more troublesome than most. How old is she now? How long has it been? She's 19. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's still the same. The smuggling rat we found this time is only one sliver of the big picture. Sounds like a dangerous assignment. You really don't have to worry. I can take care of myself. Yes, I suppose you can. Plus, there is another agent on the case with me. Oh, another agent? He's a star among Interpol agents and has the highest successful arrest rate. Who knows, you may even run into him one day. I'm simply caught up in this one case. I hardly see why we would cross paths. I suppose, but I doubt he would say the same. I'm not following you. You'll understand soon enough. The fight has only just begun, Miles Edgeworth. I'll be back in this country soon enough. And when I am, you can be sure I'll pay you back, in full. I don't doubt it. And just like that, she's gone, huh, sir? Thank goodness, I can finally rest easy knowing I won't have to watch out for her whip. Detective Gumshoe, I want to thank you for all your help and cooperation. It was nothing, sir. I was just happy to be able to work with you again. I think I'm gonna celebrate by adding a little extra salt to my instant noodles tonight. Oh, that's so sad. How much did you cut his salary by, Franziska? Detective, I was wondering if you might give me a ride down to the prosecutor's office. Sure thing, sir. I'll even fly down the road in the patrol car if you want. Don't make me remind you, Detective. Safety first. Thus, I solved the first case upon my arrival home. Franziska von Karma, smuggling brute she was after. The leaders of that ring had already put their trump card into play. And the players on the other side of this war, they would begin to make themselves known through the next incident. Bring, bring, bring. Edgeworth speaking. Ah, finally. I called who knows how many times earlier, but I couldn't get through. And you are? Ah, have you forgotten my voice, Miles, my boy? Mr. Armando? Ernest Armando, correct? Who? Ah, so you do remember me. I know it's rather sudden, but I can't ask this of anyone else. There's been an incident, Miles. My son, he's been kidnapped. Is they're just gonna leave me on this cliffhanger? This is so mean.